Alrighty, welcome everyone. I hope you've had a great week so far. If that's not the case for you, then hopefully the runs that we've got organised on this show and the Batman action following in another show debut of How to Train a Speedrunner can get you feeling in a good mood. Now, you might not have heard my voice before, as this is the first episode of Going Places. So I'm Hypnotics, and I will be your captain for this episode. So think of this like a speedrun travel show. We'll be going around the world looking at region-exclusive games, as well as the games that we use to mitigate the monotony of travel on our mobile devices or handheld consoles. This week's collection of runs are all featuring our well-known Rockman, or as us Western folk know him, Mega Man. So, kicking things off, we got Mr. Cab up and ready to show off Mega Man V for the Game Boy with Man X86 alongside to G him along. It's all over to you guys.
All right, thank you. Yeah, like you said, we're playing portable games here. Was actually practicing it on this game earlier this week, on this console earlier this week. I know you can't see it because green screens, but it looks funny this way. So yeah,
Magical Game Boy.
Let's cut to the chase here. This is Mega Man V. It's the fifth Mega Man game that came out on the Game Boy. You might know it better by the Rockman World Series. That was the title they gave it in Japan. Came out in 1994, and unlike all the other Game Boy games, this one's a little unique. Mega Man shoots his fist. We don't have NES Robot Masters, so we're gonna have a good time. I'm Mr. Cab. Mannix, you're out there?
Yeah, I am. I love this idea of traveling without a proof of vaccination. Let's go.
Yo.
You can count yourself down there for timing.
Mannix has the record in this game. I've had it for a little while too. We like this game, so without further ado, I think let's get started. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
All
So-
right.
Good luck.
We have.
So we start.
Can we explain the plot?
I was about to, yeah.
Go for it.
So, again, we're in space here, and while Mr. Cat makes us space sick on the first part of Neptune, Dr. Wily's back for.
No, he's not. We got Star
time.
Droids.
Yeah, but he's got like super powered star droids, and Mega Man's Buster doesn't hurt these guys. So now we got a super enhanced arm called the Mega Arm. So for those who wanted to see lemon shots, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen today. So you can shoot your arm, and it sort of goes about halfway to the screen and comes back, and it can actually hit enemies on the way there and back. So it's actually a pretty neat concept. It takes to getting used to, but it's really, really well designed. One of the first things you'll notice is colors. This game looks really, really good. It was one of the few titles that were part of the Super Game Boy Enhanced titles. So it looks very good and plays very well. On the flip side, you got a lot of lag to emulate all of this. So Mr. Cat's gonna have to lag management.
Yeah, pretty much anytime there's something on the screen flying through the air in this game, it just slows down, and it's like trudging through water. Explosion animations and a lot of other things. So I want to have Buster shots on the screen as little as possible, and I want to have as useful as that Mega Arm is for snapback. I have not gotten that jump all week in practice. I love it.
I'm glad you got it. So what you saw is a pipe jump, and I believe it's a 3-frame jump, maybe 2.
It's something very short, similar to the Mega Man 3 on NES, kind of 5-frame slide jump. I hear Metroid Dread has a slide jump like that now too, so shout outs to new games.
All the space games are just understanding that you need these kinds of jumps. All right. So the enemies do a lot of damage in this game as well, so Cap's gonna have to be careful. Fortunately, we get a lot of stuff later on that will allow us to heal. So you'll see a lot of mechanics with gravity related, like in this case we're in water, so our jump is affected. Later on there'll be some stuff affecting us.
Fortunately, that's the only water section in the whole game.
But you have to be in the water, yeah. And we're already at the first boss already. Neptune is, you want to keep about a mid-range from him, so if you're too far, he's going to do this world shake, and I hope Cat doesn't do it, because sometimes he's like, I'll just do it to me. Another neat thing about bosses is you want to do some half charges when you can, instead of a full charge, because it does 2 damage instead of 1 in this game, so if you time your your half charges from really close, you can do 2 points of damage, which is faster than full charge at 3. Good boss there. It's not an easy boss to optimize, and one mistake just sort of makes you give up on getting it fast.
Yeah, you can do a couple of things in that fight, like try and jump over that shot to stay in his face, and like you said, deliver half-charge shots. This game and Mega Man 8 have that in common, where you want to use half charges for DPS. Neptune's also just a rough boss because you saw a few damage boosts in that stage, and every time I'm taking a damage boost, it's 4 hit points. Mega Man only has 19 hit points in this game as opposed to the usual 28 that he has in most other games. So things get a little dicey near the end of that stage, and you kind of have to be ready to go into the Neptune fight knowing you have to accomplish it damageless. Fortunately, I got a few health drops in that stage, so we made it.
This is one of my favorite weapons and one of the most important ones of the game. The salt bubble, we'll probably just call it bubble, or the Neptune shot.
It's
Salt
water.
And a weapon that can shoot in different arcs based on what you're pressing on your D-pad. It does use quite a bit of ammo, and it's going to be calculated for the entire run. So when Cal gets an extra refill by accident, he'll be pretty happy with that.
No, the first half of the game, we do get weapons back between stages. So this stage I can go nuts. But like you said, Neptune's a very expensive weapon. We say very expensive at all of 2 units of ammo, but it's the only weapon in the game that every shot will use 2.
Let's talk about the stage we're in, Mercury.
Yeah.
You know, other than the fact that the music is one of the best in the game, even though it loops really fast, this stage utilizes a lot of damage boosting, especially here where there's like a long period of wait time, and nobody likes to wait in speedruns. But your health and your ammo is calculated pretty well here, so Kev's going to try to kill this guy before he can't kill him.
Yeah, once the sort of
There's
dust
like a
crusher block drops down, you can't actually hurt him. I'm like terrified right now by this conveyor system.
That little bird is the worst enemy in the game, or one of the worst.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Okay. Once that state screen goes wrong, it goes wrong. I'm going to come up here just so I can do this. I'm going to drop down, release B, and slide. That kills free. That kind of shows off a little bit of the snapback damage that we were talking about earlier with the fist. When it's coming back, it will hit possibly even multiple times as it's returning to Mega Man. So there's a few spots in the game where
You got 2 of them.
count on
You're in
that.
shape. All right, the Mercury boss. So this boss is pretty easy in concept. If depending, he can either do a short animation to transition or a long one, and transition is based on whether he has even or odds amount of HP left after you hit him. So Cav is going to do a very specific sequence of either full charge shots or a small one.
You can start charging into slide. There's a half charge, and there we go. So, kind of like Maddox was saying, it's a specific sequence here. It's scripted. We do it like that. It doesn't really matter when you get the 2 fast transitions in a row. I guess 3 fast transitions in a row. As long as you get them. The reason you don't go full fast transitions for the whole fight is just at that point you're adding more cycles, and they start to outweigh the fact that he could be moving across the room faster.
The Mercury weapon is pretty interesting and a pretty unique concept of a weapon. All weapons in this game are really, really good. So the Mercury shot will hit enemies, and as you saw, any enemy that you hit will generate a small little health drop that will come back and gravitate towards Mega Man, which is not guaranteed that you get it because it gravitates really weirdly.
It's like a wild electron trying to circle Mega Man and come back to him. The bad thing is if you don't get it, you can only have 3 of them on the screen, so you might not be able to fire again. And you heard me say earlier that like explosions and anything flying through the air tends to lag the game. This is Mars' stage. It's a very laggy stage, Mars' stage.
That's where they made the Mars bar, I'm pretty sure, anyway. I'd have to look it up to be sure.
We'll go and blame Mars for the stage. So expect to see this game kind of really struggle in a few spots. But there's still things that you can do to manage it. Or that shot earlier to make sure we hit this gorilla. And this is one of the many 2 spike slides in this game. This game really, really loves to do that to us, make you slide perfectly under some spikes. But
if you played any of the Mega Man Game Boy series, you'll know that they love putting spikes
oh my goodness,
in very opportune places.
Especially Mega Man 3. So we are going to get out Mercury's weapon here. It is nice not just for the health drops, but it also does 2 points of damage per shot without having to be charged or anything like that. So for this stage, it's really useful. I'm just going to also use a wall there for that slide just to line it up through the spikes. Ugh.
If possible, you want to make sure there's only one shot on screen because, as you saw, it generates plenty of lag. Fortunately, the game is consistent enough that we know when the lag is going to hit us. If you land your strats appropriately, it's not like a random thing.
Yeah, and like even here, we're going to...
Coming up is the...
boost off that spine just to get it out of the air. Now I'm actually not liking my hit points. I'm going to kill this instead of making the jump. You can boost off that that missile. It hurts, but if you fall off that screen with your iframes still in the damage animation, you can make it through that kind of giant spiny turtle without taking another hit.
What's the quote again? No pain, no speed?
Something like that.
Or is it game? I don't remember.
It's something like that.
As Cab is dealing with the monkeys for the last time, hopefully.
So you mentioned the Neptune angles earlier. Just watch these shots. And holding down on the second shot for a really short arc. Make sure I take that kind of... What's the the bingo spinny thing? Like an evil version of that. So this is Mars. Mars, the first missiles, like that whole pattern, will block your shots. You want to make sure you shoot it over him. It's possible to get a double hit in there, but it's super laggy. And like we already said, lag management is kind of important in this game.
Exactly. So now you got one annoying stage out of the way. Good job.
Thanks.
And now we get the Mars missile, which is also an extremely important weapon in this, like, as of pretty much right now. Yeah. It sort of launches a missile, but it stands still just before it launches away.
Still does the damage, though, as long as it's on the screen at all. So can use the fact that it sits around for a little bit to our advantage in this next stage. Just for... see that there's a little bit of like Game Boy player, Game Boy, whatever we're using to actually stream this. This out there in chat, this is on the Game Boy Player right now on your GameCube. That can play Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. Hope that is not coming through. I think Little Cab's having some fun upstairs. There's also the Super Game Boy 2 and the Super Game Boy on your Super Nintendo. You play on the original Super Game Boy. It is a little overclocked to try and handle some of this stuff better. Your leaderboard times will be adjusted just fine, but if you can get your hands on a Super Game Boy 2, which was a Japanese only release, it's a little preferred. And they both work very well.
Now we're in Venus, one of our favorite neighboring planets, right? Everybody knows Venus. This, first of all, let's talk about the song. Like, if anybody can whistle this, I commend you. This is an awesome song to whistle to.
I can't get that high.
I can't whistle, period. What about you, Hypnotics? Can you whistle?
Ooh, I don't know whether I can quite do it that high. I managed to get a little snippet of it, and I don't think I would be able to. You'd mentioned Minicab. Have you managed to get Minicab onto? Oh, no, not Minicab, Little Cab, but onto Mega Man yet? Do you think you've got a budding speedrunner?
Little Cab, when he held the controller for Mega Man 4, selected Dustman first, so we've got to work on some things. But he has he's actually mastered a lot of speed tech for Mario Odyssey, which is kind of scary.
Ooh. Wow. Well, we've had a bit of Mario Odyssey recently on the channel, so if you've missed any of that, make sure you have a look on our YouTube channel. We've also got a Sum of Best, BDQ Sum of Best YouTube channel, which sort of condenses these hotfixes and puts them into like little bite-sized chunks so that you can see the highlights from our events. But yes, no, I don't think I can whistle this this high.
Gotta wait on these waterfalls. You've seen it a couple of times at this point. You can hang on the ladder as long as you don't try and climb the ladder while the waterfall is going by. Otherwise, yes, they will wash you through the floor.
What you're seeing right now is what Cap calls the worst room of the game.
Just like that slide itself. These bubbles, you'll either jump at like a medium height or a high height, and it's very easy to just kind of get caught in a bad spot. I absolutely hate that room.
It's fortunately one that I've never had an issue with, but I still call it the worst room of the game because you influenced me and everything about this video game.
Getting caught in these bubbles.
Just one last little segment here. One more owl.
And those owls, they do kind of draw you in with their fan, and then right when you get comfortable with it, they push you away. So you gotta kind of know how to deal with them. Though you can use the pole as to help you jump towards them, gain a couple of frames there. Venus likes to jump whenever you shoot, and that's why I said
we're hoping for low jumps and no big bubbles because the big bubbles do a lot of lag. That was a good fight. I had never seen like somebody not get hit by anything.
Yeah, the big bubbles, anything on the screen generates a ton of lag. You probably saw the game just like really kind of the moment he jumped up high and released that tiny tracking bubble down at me. But honestly, because he's so manipulatable in that sense, you can only have one big bubble on the screen at a time. So he's pretty much going to do that in the fight. And that's where knowing the photon missile will do full damage just by putting it on the screen is really important. Trick him into taking all the damage. The bubble bomb is an excellent weapon. It's unfortunately extremely laggy. Rush coil is also in this game. Game Boy games, you get rush from bosses. Go figure.
Your password was. Did you write it down?
Sorry, I missed the password.
Okay.
We'll have to reference the Mega Man homepage later.
All right, coming up is one of the iconic bosses of the Mega Man series. You probably know him as the Easy Devil.
Oh,
but this one is a little variation called Dark Moon, but he still does the fancy separation whoosh thing.
Yep.
Ab is gonna try to do the impossible, which is kill him in one cycle.
Impossible Devil.
And if you didn't practice for 3 years in a row, it probably won't work.
It probably won't work, but we'll go for it anyway.
It doesn't really hurt going for it if you miss it, so you might as well anyway.
So actually, as far as Mega Man knows, Terra here is the villain. Whole opening sequence, Terra, Earth, that robot comes in, beats up Mega Man. So Mega Man's here to stop him. Terra's here for revenge.
Terra also needs a haircut.
Terra desperately, well, long hair's good. Could probably use something though.
So all these blocks are scripted. God knows exactly what to do, but he's also doing a setup, and I'll stop talking now so he can focus.
I don't have it. No. Yeah. I got 3 hits though, so we're fine. Like, it's been a while and the setup is really tight. You basically need to be at a point where every time you shoot the missile, it goes into the eye. You have a very small window to actually be standing next to it and not get knocked really far back. And then you need a couple of extra shots to still connect.
Everything happens in like 3 or 4 seconds, and there's so many inputs and precision. That
2 of your jumps, you actually need to like wiggle, plant the missile in its eye, go back away from it, put a missile in the air to come back and hit it again the moment the iframes run out, while still jumping back up again. If you actually see it, that one cycle devil is really hard to get, but it does save 20 seconds.
Just to say how difficult it is, only 2 of them have ever gotten it. Abhir and Tremaine, and for the longest time they were 1 and 2. I don't have it in my, even though it's the world record. So hey, if somebody wants to get a crack at the world record, you get a free 20 seconds.
There you go.
So now we're taking our favorite method of travel, jet, or space jet guy. I don't know what his name is.
Yeah.
We are literally going places.
Yeah, Mega Man's going
Let's
places
call him
now.
shuttle jet.
Make the call for Rush Marine here.
Interesting. We've had a bit of a sort of, people have been talking about the color scheme for this game, and I believe it's something that you can change given the hardware.
I don't think I can change it once the game gets going. Super Game Boy 2, you can definitely change midway. Game Boy Player and the Game Boy interface, you need to kind of know what color you want at power on. Ow, that's 8 points of damage, and I only have 19 hit points. But yeah, this is the default color scheme for this game, actually. But it is what it is.
Is there a favorite amongst runners in terms of color scheme?
I don't think there is. We're crying because I just let a large weapon drop go to waste.
Oh no.
So this game, like a lot of the other Game Boy Mega Man games, the second 4 Robot Masters, you don't get your weapon energy refilled between stages. And so that means I'm running without the Mars that I just used to take out the Rock Dark Moon. And I really want it back.
So we're gonna hope that either a mystery character that we haven't seen yet helps us out with the refills, or that we get some large drops that fall.
That's
like
fine.
That.
That's
Hey.
actually really good. Because the next thing I was going to do was there's a large drop in the game at the end of this section right here. So we've got that now. You can attempt to play the stage and not take any unscripted damage, and you will reach the boss with 1 hit point left. You have to get this boost
going for
here.
it?
Wow, I got it. So again, those tanks do 8 points of damage. We have to damage boost past 3 of them. So 8 times 3 is 24. We need hit points from someplace. That's where Mercury's weapon comes in handy. If you miss the damage boost off that falling floor tile, you need hit points from something. So using this can kind of force, you're going to generate your own health drops.
One last little drill guy. There we go. And here's our mystery friend.
Yeah, this
Does chat know who the mystery friend is?
soundtrack, I see that being talked about in chat too. We got an S capsule. That's exactly what we wanted here. This soundtrack is really
you're
good,
looking at the
and this
drops
is
for this
easily
stage.
my favorite track in the whole game.
There's the 8 points of damage from a guy who's just walking around and it looks like he's a defensive unit.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled by appearance.
So this is where Mercury having shots that come back.
Just
Oh
a
my
few
goodness,
there.
that was
It is
terrible.
possible to get 2 more.
I apologize for what you have to see on screen there.
Everything's fine. The graphics have not distorted.
In a good fight, you can actually hit him 5 times before he crosses the room. Then you get him once more in the bottom left, and when he zips up to the top left, you can either use Rush Coil or a Venus Bubble to take him out. Rush Coil for swag, Venus just to kind of sit back and watch the impending doom happen. But Pluto's weapon is actually really, really good. Not Break Man. See the Proto Man jokes out there. This is the Break Dash. It doesn't look like much, but you saw Mega Man flash at the end of that. So Mega Man gets some invincibility out of this. And far be it from me to say that speedrunners love to have free iframes to dash past all the enemies ever. Especially when they have shields and you can't damage them right away. Jupiter is...
The name of the weapon is good. Go ahead.
Jupiter's the most technical stage in this game, I think. That jump was not going to work out very well for me. That enemy just gone now.
So Cab just mentioned we're going to have some iframes while we're using the Pluto Dash, or the Break Dash, because, it does break the game.
Oh, yeah.
The name is very appropriate for the weapon. We're just going to get through these enemies that are unkillable, or it takes like 10 seconds to kill them.
I don't know what their actual name is. I've just started calling them Jupiter Joes because they kind of fill that role in this game.
Exactly. I like it, Jupiter
Oh my
Joes.
god.
And also, the longer Cab charges it, the more energy he uses. So he's going to have to carefully only use it the least that he can, because I like every other weapon we're going to be using, everything is important, and we're going to need this one later on a few times.
I'm even going to go back for that little drop. Pluto actually has 3 stages of charge. So there's kind of a quarter charge, a half charge, and the full charge. They use progressively more weapon energy and go a progressively further difference. That's a risky jump. I knew as soon as I made it too.
That's the worst jump of the game, and you went for it without your invincibility of the break dash.
Because often I won't actually make it with that anyway.
Now you get to see a little bit of this in a painful way. Because now he's got about a quarter less of this weapon's energy, which is heavily calculated in this stage.
We'll be okay.
But,
with
we
that
don't want
part
to
of
deal
it.
with these Joes, so we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, we'll make it work. So just watch this first half again.
That's also the worst death in the game in terms of time.
It really is.
So you die literally like 1 second away from the checkpoint. It's about a minute and a half, I would say, roughly. Not to mention, you know, the issues with the ammo that you might have to.
Yeah.
All these little drops do count because that's like 2 or 3 dashes worth, so it's really important. So now you get to see what happens when you want to kill them. So they sort of get tired after they spark up. Then
Yep.
you can
Don't go for that twice. Take that.
Yep. So all those little drops sort of equal to like 1 large drop, so definitely worth going for. Got a couple more cool sections here with the dash. So as you can see, we don't care about enemies. We just go through them. Except that bird.
Sure, a little bit. And then here, just for ammo
Nobody likes
conservation, we're
birds.
going to kill them too. Pluto lets you use the Buster for free if you don't charge it. So it's very nice in that respect. Mega Man V, kind of like Mega Man 11, your damage doesn't boost you backwards. It boosts you into the damage that the game probably should have boosted you. That wasn't going to go anywhere.
Last big jump. Oh my god, I was like, you better not jump. It's notice, not only are those jumps tight, the floor is slippery, and
Yeah.
you don't know it until you get there.
You can kind of see Mega Man sliding right now on the floor too. We're on ice. We get ice physics. One thing you probably noticed just a little bit in that last room too, there's definitely some points where it looked like the iframes had worn off. If you're familiar with Brightman's weapon on the NES and Mega Man 4, it's a very similar effect where if you're sliding, your iframes from using a break dash get extended for some reason. And as long as you keep sliding, it's almost like the timer just doesn't run out. So you can use that in a few spots to just kind of extend how long you're invincible. Get past a couple of things it really doesn't look like you should. And we'll also use it a little bit later in the game to just slide through an entire screen. Lots of enemies.
We'll point it
we're just
out
going to
at
keep
an
going.
obvious spot later on. Let's talk about the electric shock, though. This is probably the best weapon in the game.
Break dash is the best kind of speed weapon for like getting around and doing stuff, but the electric shock is a ridiculously strong weapon just as power goes. And it's mostly what we're going to use for the last 2 stages.
So can everybody just put their favorite jam emotes in the chat? Because Saturn is an amazing song.
I'll give you that.
And here we have the Saturn. This stage is basically works on gravity, so you'll notice some G values onto the walls in various spots. So that will either make the jump super light or very heavy. And it constantly changes, and there's these floating enemies, and it's extremely important to kill them, otherwise your run is over in terms of PB.
Yeah. Those little pendulum enemies you'll see it with the last one, but their actual job is to lag the game and sort of put Mega Man in slow motion. You can kind of see a couple of things happening with the electric shock here too. One being that its hitbox is probably a little bigger than it looks vertically, and another that it will destroy enemy shots. If there's like a small bullet on the screen, the electric shock is going to destroy it. And that's really useful. This screen in particular, if you happen to be playing this on the 3DS Virtual Console, another runner of this game discovered it that just the iframes just go a little longer than they should on the 3DS version. So some tricks may be a little trickier to pull off if you happen to be running that. We destroyed a shot with that jump if you missed it. One other quirk of Jupiter's weapon we haven't really talked about yet is that Mega Man's frozen in place when he's using it, but you can jump and you can slide out of it, and that will cancel it. So there's some of the movement in the stage is definitely based on that too.
I wish you would have fought this boss for Buster only just to show us how cool losing your main weapon is.
We should show it a little bit maybe in refights. Saturn is the hardest boss in Buster only. It's the hardest boss in this game if you do not have its weakness. You saw how ridiculously free it is with its weakness.
Like most Mega Man games, right? What's the weakness so I can beat this video game?
Oh, there's a lot of Robot Masters like that. Like if you know how to handle Burner Man with an Ice Wall, if you know how to handle Magic Man with a Tengu Blade, there's a few more of them out there where it's if you have their weakness, fight is literally free. Here's Rush Jet, not seen in this run. We hope.
I was gonna say if you miss that one jump, you will have to.
Yeah, I missed it in the practice run earlier. That's the first time I missed that jump in a very long time.
Also, one thing we should have talked about 20 minutes ago is boss selection. It looks like it's a 4-directional D-pad kind of thing, and if you press upward, you press down, you think I'm gonna go to the robot below me, right? No. It works like some kind of weird clock motion.
It's not like a circle. So.
And it's like reverse clock. It's really confusing at first. It's like, oh, I pressed left and I went up. All right, sounds good.
We missed
this
that
is my
jump.
favorite theme of the game versus the kind of level you have. I think the two go extremely well together.
I wasn't sure that second one was going to connect. There's two ways to take out that mid-boss. One is you just saw. The other is to kind of get Jupiter's weapon to connect in just the right spot. Using Rush Coil does result in a little more weapon switching for this stage. Of course, getting past vertical screens is kind of Rush Coil's job, so it does get used in this run. Eddie, please. Thank you. The one time in the series we actually want Eddie.
Yeah. It could have been this, could have been Pluto Dash, but since this stage uses the electric shock the entire way, it's safer to go with the electric shock now and worry about the Pluto later. And these birds, by the way, they can get you if you're not careful or not fast enough.
We're gonna show off Saturn's weapon because we can.
It's called Black Hole, and now you know why. It attracts all kinds of birds into the thing, and possibly things other than birds.
Yeah. There's a really. It used to be the actual strat for that room to just go straight to Saturn and annihilate the birds. It does at least reduce the lag for sure.
Plenty of
Plant the missile right in its face.
over time.
I think this is the canceled. I think that's the canceled mid boss from Mega Man 4 for Pharaoh Man stage 2. Sometimes they'll show that in like the cutting room floor website. Green's just a little spooky.
Why? Yeah, I was gonna say you might be thinking, why is Cab not moving forward? It's speedrun. That room can be a run killer, and that's.
We already wasted a minute of everyone's time in Jupiter stage. We're going.
This is Uranus.
This is Uranus.
You want me to go or you go?
1 point of damage from everything. What's up?
I was gonna say, do you want me to explain it? Because he's gonna die by the time we decide who does anyway. Just dash into the guy and kill him. It's a pretty cool boss, though. He does change like the terrain around, and he can crush you based on if you're on the wrong side. But as long as you stay close to him, usually you're fine.
Uranus's tactic is to jump up and down, shake the grounds, and that will interrupt the break dash. He takes 1 point of damage from pretty much everything except the break dash. But as you saw there, if you just get across the room, That was also, you can see the full charge of Pluto. It uses 2 points of ammo, but it crosses most of the screen. And then the half charges, the quarter charges even do the same amount of damage. You just kind of get in there and tear them up.
Now we're
I
just
finally destroyed all the space stations. It's not the star droids, it's the space stations.
You're a little rusty.
So,
It's okay. You'll get it.
I honestly have not played the English cart in a while. You save about 29 seconds of text on the Japanese cart, but that won't matter on the leaderboard.
And speaking of Cab being an awesome person, he's actually letting you guys get through the text there. Normally you can just speed your way through the text. But hey,
So
it's a cool video game, so we show it all.
we open this fight with a charge shot. We get either 2 attacks from him. We either get the balls there, or we get the spark chaser. Much
And if
like
you-
A Link to the Past, we don't want to see the little. We don't want to see that one attack that's going to lock us in place and just waste time.
And if you try to get on the same half screen as Terra, he sort of jumps backward and teleports on the other side. So that happened.
Yeah, it was Tremaine. He's another great runner of this game. Actually has a pretty good task for it as well. Came up with a few of the strats here. The one I didn't do were jumping over that missile, opening that fight with a full charge. But yeah, that is Terra. We have the Spark Chaser now. It's a great weapon. It does a lot of good things, and it's just not the fastest option in a lot of places.
What's that in the background? I hear
Well,
something coming.
you already spoiled that Dr. Wily was in this game.
No, it's not
He's there
Wiley. It's air balloons. Everybody loves air balloons, right? It's an M. Is it Majin Buu?
I don't think it's Majin Buu.
So, like all Mega Man video games, Wily has the largest Death Star or space station like thing that nobody has saw. Clearly, it was in the background there.
How does he have the resources to build a literal Death Star?
Maybe he's friends with Sith. I don't know.
I guess. I don't. Capcom's writing Star Wars fan fiction now.
I was about to say, that's definitely a question I want to ask as well. What were the Dr. Eggman in the Sonic series as well? There's
Ooh.
always, all of these evil geniuses seem to have a lot of money and a lot of resources.
If
Yeah,
you've
we
ever played
need to
Super
check up on them.
Castlevania 4 Dracula as Treasury, you can even play it in and see where all the enemies get paid.
Eggman and
Maybe-
Wily have
maybe that's an
teamed up.
evil guy thing.
They have teamed up in comic books, so you never know.
Indeed, very right.
This asteroid pattern is scripted. Welcome to Rush Marine. We've made the call.
This is the best video game stage.
The spawns and speeds of these like little, I don't know, snub fighters is kind of random. So we got a couple of slow ones here. That's unfortunate.
You take one full charge shot and then a single shot. So you sort of want to make them circle because they do gravitate around you just very slowly.
There's 4 hit points each.
Now we play the
the-
beam dance game.
Sections also scripted. Never changes. So we kind of
supposed
want
to tell
that bolt behind Rush's right ear. Just want that lined up with the W at the bottom of the screen. Trying to get the top of Mega Man's helmet lined up with that star coming across. Because Mega Man will always move to this position on the screen before we make our final approach to the trench sequence. I don't know. So
I
we have to
didn't
take
even
out the
know
super
that.
laser.
Yeah,
Like
this
every
boss is
other boss. Go ahead.
Okay. This boss scripted, one pattern will shoot missiles, one pattern will shoot these little bullets at the bottom, but we can only hurt the mouth area after the big beam has been shot. So we want to squeeze in one full charge shot and 2 single shots. It's worth noting that the task can save a full cycle here by shooting extra shots in there that nobody knows how to do.
Yeah, I don't know what your window is, but the task, it's a full charge, a lemon, and then a second full charge. So it's done in 3 cycles instead of 4. Here, as long as you don't miss more than one of your lemons, you're good. And we're in the Wily Star. This is our last checkpoint for a while.
Don't miss the jump.
No pressure.
This is the last stage, but don't worry, there's still lots of Mega Man left to play. This stage is like 15 minutes long or something like that.
We made the jump.
Made the jump, and now you get to see what we can do here with the break dash. We can also break some walls. You fall down that pit, it's a long road around, and also you get to rush jet, which is not used anywhere else in the game in the speedrun.
Yeah. There's a long kind of section over spikes where you either have to use rush jet or make some crazy damage boosts to make it across. In fact, in Buster only, you're not allowed to use rush jet because you can make it over without it. But it's not fun.
You
Not
probably
fun with
recognize
rush jet.
Anchor from Dr. Wily's Revenge. All the Mega Man killers are returning to try to kill Mega Man. Funny how their name works and what they do. This is from Dr. Wily's Revenge, the first one. And the strats are oddly similar except for the half charge.
Yep. Anchor, of course, you don't have a charge shot in the first game, so it's half charge for DPS. What do I need? Looks like I need Mars. These are the two sort of drops the game will give you. Second one almost always goes to Pluto. You're looking to have Pluto, Jupiter, and Mars filled up. Neptune would be next in line here. I did promise you you'd see me kind of slide across an entire screen at some point and go right through an enemy. There it was.
It'll happen again soon.
There's another one soon. Here's Quint, who I believe you use Hard Knuckle on if you're playing Mega Man 2. So go figure, we're using a weapon that hangs in the air.
And for those who like lore, that's technically Mega Man from the future. I'm just glad now that we've played Mega Man 11 that Pogo is not our main weapon.
True.
Here's the greatest example of the break dash.
So my iframes are long over. By the way, if you fall in these spike pits, you can technically get out with rush coil, but it's really hard. That choice of paths is actually the only point in the game you are required to use a weapon other than the Buster. Trivia. Who's Mega Man 3 Game Boy's Mega Man killer?
It is Punk,
Punk.
which is
That game
weak to the
Punk was
Neptune in this one.
actually immune to everything except the Buster in his original game.
Yep, he's an actual real Mega Man killer. I don't know why Wily hasn't developed bosses that are immune to Buster. You know, you think he would have clued in since Mega Man 1.
Well, he kind of figured out that weapons will do it. If Boo Beam doesn't work, nothing will.
I'm gonna call him and say you should make all your robots out of Met armor because clearly the Met armor's got what's going on.
Let's go Mets. This is Ballad.
I say Belade, but I'm pretty sure you're right.
Ballade, Ballad. I think they wanted Ballad because you got all the other musical terms in Mega Man.
I believe you.
Ballad has this problem where he doesn't know how to reach the left wall unless you're playing Mega Man 10's special stage. We could just hang back there. Same thing as actually the original Mega Man 4 game. The exact same problem. Except this time we don't have to... I forget what his weakness even is in Mega Man 4.
It is the Buster or the Stone.
Stone. We don't have to use Power Stone.
That's the best part of this video game. All right, now we're on to refights already. We're gonna do.
You see a lot of
most
familiar
fights will look the
strategies
same.
here.
Yeah. Now we'll see if Cad treats us to a very special kind of Saturn, but
You'll have to remind me about that in like 2 minutes.
Are you saying it's going to take you 2 minutes to fight 2 more bosses?
I'm giving myself some space. I guess you're right. It's gonna be more like 40 seconds.
It's worth noting that it's impossible to one cycle Jupiter, but it's possible to 2 cycle, which Cav is pretty good at usually. There you go.
And we have a lot of Neptune, so we're gonna use it. Often when you get here, you have very little Neptune left, and sometimes it's not even worth taking it out for Mars. Mars's soft weakness conveniently is also Saturn's weakness, and Saturn's in the next teleporter. You saw the double hit. There you go.
You just received your reminder by yourself. Saturn's next teleporter.
So we could just go in
At
there.
least show off one cycle.
Yeah. So mostly all you really need to see here is what happens if you try and hit Saturn with a charge shot
When his shield
when he's using the black hole.
There we go.
That's exactly what happens.
Where's your arm? What?
Yeah, there, it did 1 point of damage. So that's the what the Buster only fight looks like for a very long time, as opposed to just using his weakness and taking care of business.
You actually don't want to shoot him at all when he's, or you don't want to charge your, or else you'll lose your arm in the portal, which I think is still the coolest thing ever.
Another weird thing about the order of this game, Neptune's weakness is actually Spark Chaser. The only thing that does extra damage.
Which is impossible to have by the time you want to fight the first time around.
Weakness order is kind of weird in this game. We're going to see the other one that's weird in a little bit.
Oh, let's redeem yourself on this fight. Much better. There we go.
Let's go for the swag kill. That's not what the swag kill looks like. There you go.
Push kills best.
There actually was a lot less lag on the screen trying to do that. If only I'd actually gotten the first jump. Why did I switch to Venus? I need Pluto. It's one of these weapons.
I'm gonna use the break dash again, except this time we're gonna fully charge into the boss.
Yeah, you can, of course. So you can see it there in the Uranus fight. You can hold charge. You can generate a charge while the boss is sort of entering the screen. A weird thing is that you can also let go of it and leave Mega Man kind of caught in this half charge state, which is really useful here. Mercury's weapon will actually make you lose items like W tanks, which we really want to have. We bought that W tank a while ago, and we're actually getting to the point where we're going to want to use it. So if you're actually in the middle of the break dash itself,
Neptune.
I'm gonna fill this up. Just make sure we have this for the fans. But if you're in the actual attack, you will still lose an item even though you don't take damage. If you're in the pure iframes, you won't even get hit. You won't lose an item. So it's good to have that half charge going into the Mercury fight.
So here's the worst part of the game. You can be on world record pace and get here and lose 13 seconds because it didn't happen.
Yeah.
You can actually get an S tank here from Proto that refills every single weapon you don't give it.
You get to sit there and watch your time just go away. It's terrible. And of course, you know, on this run, everything's fine. So this should be a 2-cycle. Again, you can hold up and Neptune will take a higher arc, which is useful because with the ground shaking, it's possible you don't get your jump. Like the shaking ground will eat your jump, but the high arc will still hit this fist anyway.
Second one is coming up here, and what Cav is going to do is manipulate the arm to come down and crush him to the very side of the screen so that Cav has a full screen length to sort of shoot Neptunes while moving to the right so that not only does he get one cycle, but he also wants to be furthest to the right when this fight is over. We'll see how it goes.
Here's our W tank that we bought a while ago on our forced shopping trip.
That missile is the worst part of this fight. There we go. That's great.
That shot sailing off the screen was good because it meant I didn't have to do anything else. Didn't have to wait for its animation to finish to shoot again.
The reason we finish on the right of the screen is normally Mega Man will walk from the whatever segment you are to this screen. Now, there's a really cool skip here. So inside this Wily machine, there's a piece that you can hit, but you can't see it. So you sort of have to use bombs that Wily throws out to hit it. But if you use the black hole, which is a large hitbox, you can actually stand right next to Wily and basically hit the core inside. And not only does it kill the boss really fast, it completely breaks the game because there's supposed to be a third phase after that we haven't seen at all. And I should just remind that we're coming up to the final boss, so timer will be in a little over a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of those long fights, like you were saying. The boss is supposed to like generate bombs for you to sort of like shoot back at the boss, and so you're sitting there waiting for many cycles to get through all that, or you just do that.
Star is designed to kill Mega Man, but instead he's malconfigured and basically hits anything he wants. So cracks Wily's capsule. I want that buster, whatever you just used. We need it.
I was about to say Wily wasn't looking too great there,
Yeah.
looking a little green.
Sunstar has 0 weaknesses, and for that reason, everything does 1 point of damage. So we're going to use the break dash because we all know we can shoot the buster while we have it, but we can also avoid a lot of his attacks using the iframes of the break dash. There's 3 phases here.
Cat also noticing that yes, this is one of those games that is an answer to your trivial question: which Mega Man game doesn't have Wily as a final boss?
There you go.
This should go well.
Yeah, I like his idea. He's like, I haven't killed Mega Man in like 26 titles.
Let's just be
now.
safe here.
I should probably let somebody else give it a shot. That's going to be really annoying with the fire. It's one last segment. Are you going to use Tango? Or are we going to see?
No, we're not using Tango.
There's a cat in this game. But,
Yeah, you haven't. That's time.
Get ready on time.
You have a cat in this game, like you were saying, and it does. It bounces around, generates all sorts of lag, drinks energy, weapon energy like it's water, and is all, in general terrible. We're sorry, Tango.
It's really annoying, like your real cats are.
Not about that, but
Good job. Sub 50. You know, this game is not easy. Sub 50 is definitely a great goal you can aim for if you try to speedrun this game. It's a pretty long game for a Mega Man game, but I find this speedrun is exciting the entire way when you play it.
And-
There's not a dull moment.
and like
So definitely,
like you said earlier too, like almost 2 minutes for that one death in Jupiter stage.
yeah. Just learn how to play Jupiter and you'll be fine. Sub 50 is possible as soon as you can.
Yeah, sub 50 is a solid goal for this game. What's the record now, Manix? It's like 44-30 something, or
4438, I believe. I think chat knows more than I do.
something like that.
But yeah.
There's only a handful of sub 45s out there, so that's the dream. But
Everybody in the chat, go play this game and get a 43 and let me know when you do.
yeah, you can wait, and this is what we gotta do, right? You can get your Game Boy, and then you can play this game while you're going places.
That's your Game Boy? I thought that was a cell
Oh.
phone.
No, that's actually the Game Boy Color. It's just also green, and go figure, I'm not actually sitting near a lake.
You gotta admit though, that'd be a pretty cool cell phone skin.
Would. Also,
If only cell phones
Wait,
had
Mr. Cab,
buttons.
you're
I'm
not
sorry,
sitting by
this
a
is a
lake.
lie. It's technology.
Oh, my
Sorry.
evening has been ruined.
I'm sitting in a basement.
GG, Mr.
Thanks.
Cab.
Thanks for having us.
That was well done. And that's all right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for being on. If people wanted to catch you anywhere, and Manix as well, is there any place that they would expect to find you? Any stream?
Right now, my channel is twitch.tv, Mr. Cab 55. Manix, you're Manix. That's MANNIX with 86, right?
Yep. I'm Manix everywhere. Manix86 on here, on Twitter. And if you go to my Twitch page, in my panels at the bottom, I got my Discord and anything else you might want to know about me.
And I know this upcoming month, I mean, go figure, I like Mega Man games. Probably going to be getting ready for the Mega Man Relay that's starting up soon. And otherwise, I might have hinted at that earlier in Neptune stage. This game, Metroid Dread, came out. You might have heard of it. I feel like everybody's playing that right now. So we'll have fun. Just some variety. But yeah,
I'm just glad it's not called Metroid Resurrection, because Resurrection is the most used title of game sequels. They haven't gone there yet, though.
So we're playing more Mega Man
Maybe
next.
for the movie.
We have got Mega Man Xtreme 2, courtesy of Focus, coming up next. So everybody, please do stay around. If you have been enjoying the music at the start of this event and throughout the event, then please do consider having an uninterrupted sort of jam session by subscribing to the channel as it goes towards these hotfixes running, and so do bits as well. So if you want to help out, then that is much appreciated. But we are going to be setting up Focus with some more Mega Man action. Don't go anywhere.
Keep your focus on the stream.
Nice.
And enjoy going places.
Welcome back, everybody. The Mega Man action doesn't stop. We have got some more coming courtesy of Focus site. Now, I believe that this is a little bit more of a modern release, and we're getting a bit more of a fresher color palette, dare I say. I did like the look of the last one, but this is looking a little bit fresher. Focus, take it away. It is all yours.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you, Hypnotics, for introducing me. My name is Focusite, or just Focus, and today we are going to be running Mega Man Xtreme 2, otherwise known as Rockman X2 Soul Eraser in Japan. I'm actually running this on a real GameCube at the moment using Game Boy interface. So I'm actually playing with the Game Boy Advance SP that I have right here. Sturdy thing for me. But before we get going into what this game is and what we're actually doing here, I want to talk about the settings, the button configuration that we have, because there are some certain settings in the later X games that are really important, and we actually use them in the run. So select can be chosen to either be weapon swap or character swap, which is what I have, character swap for this mode. Auto charge is off, which means X is not going to have a charge buster at all in this run, but he will have auto fire or Rensha. That is on, so that will be there. That's important because of the way that lag works in this game and the fact that we actually in this mode mainly use 0 instead of X. What is extreme mode though? So when you first get this game, you actually get X mission and then 0 mission right below it. Those are 4 Mavericks each, and then they have a boss at the end of those. Extreme mode is unlocked after both of those, and you actually get essentially the full game that way. You get the true ending that way, and you get to play as all 8. You get to play against all 8 Mavericks as both X and 0 from the very beginning, which is what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be doing that 100%. That's why it's 100% extreme mode. Can't get more extreme than 2001. You know, this is very much of the time in the naming conventions. So without further ado, let us begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
On to text, because, you know, what's a better way to start a game off? So the plot of this game, it takes place somewhere between Mega Man X3 and Mega Man X4. This is known as the Erasure Incident. It's actually canon and talked about in Mega Man X6. Basically, they've had a bunch of weird readings from this island where a bunch of Reploids are having their souls sucked out of their body, you know, usual Sunday afternoon. And they're like, oh, we should probably go investigate that. So Iris, being at the sort of headquarters, helps X and 0 go through this weird thing. And we find that there are 2 people there. They have Burkana and Gareth, who are the first, Burkana being the first and only villainous in the Mega Man X series, funnily enough, who are trying to use the souls as an energy source, basically like a power plant of some sort. And it's our job to stop them from doing that. And definitely Sigma's not involved, because why would Sigma be involved in a Mega Man X game?
Wow, that is quite the synopsis.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's what it is. It's what it's worth. The 2 extreme games, which this is the second, there was a original game that was basically just X1, but you know, repeated. Quite literally, that was the plot of the entire game. So this has a plot that isn't just we put you into the computer again, do X1 again. Also, we play in the Japanese version because we have faster text that way. It's just significantly faster. We also get a lot more exposition here. I'm basically talking about that before already. So I want to talk a little bit about movement here. So, in Mega Man Xtreme 2, you may have noticed there's no dash button, and that's actually right. There is no dash button in Mega Man Xtreme 2 whatsoever. You're on a Game Boy Color. This is a Game Boy Color game from 2001. You only have the 2 face buttons, a start and select, and a D-pad. There's no dash button, specifically, so you have 3 ways of dashing. First is double tap dashing, so you can double tap left or right. That allows you to do a dash jump, not easy to repeat or like spam. You can also do down A to dash. That means you can spam dashes really easily and hold them and keep them going on a flat surface for long, but you can't dash jump out of them. The third one is dash jumping or air dashing. Air dashing is available by default for Zero, but not for X. X, we have a part that we're going to get, a piece of armor, that will allow us to get an air dash for him. But that's done by double tapping A, easiest to do, but it also gives the least distance. So knowing which sort of dash to use when is super important in this game. I also just bought a part, like the ones in Mega Man X5 and the PSX titles. You have a part shop here. We don't need to buy all the parts for it to be 100% for reference, but we can choose to buy certain parts to improve our kit. And what I've bought is Zero Saber +1. This means that all of Zero's attacks are now improved in their damage by a factor of 1. So a normal jump slash is 3 points of damage. It's now 4 points of damage with this part. This is the first armor capsule we'll get, and if I remember correctly, this just breaks blocks with your feet. It's kind of funny how that's such a common thing. You think like metal can't break blocks, but nope. You have to get extra feet to get more blocks, apparently. Also, don't worry, I'm not dead. There's a nice little skip right here. This is called elevator skips. Let me see if I can get it. Timing your wall jumps here accordingly, and air jumping at the right time to avoid the lag that is added by the elevator. And there you go, not bad. But the 100% mode, the 100% category requires us to do essentially just two things. We need to get all the armor capsules. There's a total of 8, 4 for Zero, 4 for X, and we need to get all 8 heart tanks, which are in all the stages. We also need to get the 2 sub-tanks, which we got one of them just here. Sub-tanks take additional health that you have and store it for later if you have a full health bar.
I find it very amusing that you just trivialized 100%, usually like sort of the big categories of these sorts of games are saying, oh yeah, it's just 2 things, yeah? It's not a big problem.
Mega Man X is like the characteristic series where 100% is really enjoyable. Like, it's the default.
Who would have thought, eh?
So this is Wire Sponge from Mega Man X2. We fight him first because, oh, I'm low on health. We fight him first because his weapon is useful for getting another part or another armor piece later on. Okay, good. There we go. So we need to get this one done first because the armor part we're going to get in the next stage requires his weapon. We actually don't use the weapons very often in Mega Man Xtreme 2. They're there, but it's not like super important for the run. And oftentimes you can, in this category at least, you can neglect having to use them. We just bought something called Energy Saver. Energy Saver is a part that reduces weapon energy use by half, so if something takes, say, like 6 points of weapon energy, it takes 3 now. This will be very useful for this one. So we're now on Tunnel Rhino stage as Zero. There's a bunch of rocks. Make sure to jump slash, because jump slash is the most powerful attack that Zero has in general. So if you just quickly jump like that and slash, it's pretty effective. You just need to be careful not to take too much damage here, because we do need to actually stay as Zero for this entire part. It's fastest if you don't switch characters, because that scramble change causes, you know, a long animation. That was weird. We also have Ride Armor in this game. You can jump into it, and so you can punch as you would in Ride Armor. You can also hover. But the weirdest thing you can't do in Ride Armor is pause. You just can't pause. They took out pausing to allow you to do this. So, really odd, but it is a feature. These two done. I'm going to stand really close to this. I'm also going to switch to equip that part. And I'm going to quickly jump slash and dash. There you go. That, for some reason, on the first frame, will actually transfer the lightning effect to your air dash slash and allow you to break the block there without having to deal with the RNG. Pretty neat. We've just gotten the arm parts for Zero, and this is by far the most useful weapon, or the most useful upgrade in the entire game. So Zero here has gotten what's called Zero Final. Zero Final is a screen-clearing move in normal play, but it also does 10 points of damage to bosses if used. Normally, given the name being Final, you can only use it once because it takes more than half your weapon energy, but given that we have this part, which reduces all weapon energy used by half, we can equip that and use it twice, which means we can inflict 20 points of damage with 2 Zero Finals on a given boss. Why is that useful? That means basically every boss from here on out where we're going to use Zero to defeat them is pretty simple in its strategy. 2 Zero finals, 3 jump slashes. That's it. So, Tunnel Rhino here, I'm going to immediately pause, and I'm going to menu over to Zero Final, which is just to my right. So that does this move here, 10 points of damage. See if I can get this. So 3 jump slashes, and Zero Final again. There you go. Every boss takes 32 hits of damage. So, 10, 10, 20, 12 from 3 jump slashes. There you go. It's a really simple strategy, but it works out pretty well in the end.
Wow, nicely done.
So this is Drill Crush that we get here. We do use it a little bit. It's necessary to get certain parts as well. And for stationary enemies, it's really useful to use this attack. It is down plus the slash button B. And so you can go through here. This is Berkata and Gareth. They're talking. Berkata's like, oh, I wonder why we are making them go through 8 previous bosses again. And they're just like, I don't know. It's fun. Next up is Volt Catfish. Volt Catfish's stage here, as you may have noticed already, all these are based off of bosses from X1, 2, or 3, and the locations are generally as well. While the boss here is Volt Catfish, the stage is based off of Toxic Seahorse in X3, which is kind of interesting. So you have the waterfall section, which is one of the most infuriating sections in this game, but we're going to get through it just fine. So if I go around through here, there's going to be a bunch of bats. Do love me some bats. But not these ones, because they lag the game and are very hard to hit consistently. Oh my gosh. Oh! I guess it's fitting. It's you know, October. Okay, there we go. That wasn't that bad. But yeah, those bats can really lag the game. They can follow you all the way up to here if you don't get through of them, so... And Zero's range isn't, like, the best, but it's there. This is the foot parts for X. This gives him the air dash and what I will call the up dash. I know it's, yeah, what's up dash? You know, whatever. We can do those jokes all we want, but the up dash is actually really important for this game, I find. It's kind of incredible because it feels like this is a required power-up, basically, if you're going to play X's mission. I don't know why they designed certain stages later on to be different, but you'll see what I mean. We can use the up dash here. It's just double tap A plus up to skip a cycle there and save some time. These are instant kill, these ones coming here now. By the way, I should warn that there's a lot of flashing lights in this game. Do proceed with caution. This game doesn't really understand the point of an epilepsy warning. But I will give it one, because yeah, if you have epilepsy, please be careful. This game flashes a lot. The heart tank is just to the left of me, so I'm just gonna go down, around, go through like that. Do some damage boosting here to avoid getting hit by the instant kill water. And we're gonna switch to Zero here. You want to switch, if you're switching characters, you want to do it closer to the top of the screen, because quite literally just the time it takes to do the animation is dependent upon that. So you'll see me, well, you'll see what I'm doing in a few places to try to swap in the most effective areas. So once again, we use Zero Final. 2, 3. That should hit. There we go. And that's Volt Catfish. Pretty smooth.
Nicely done. I do confess that that water did seem very scary. It just sort of like appears out of nowhere, it seems.
That was a gold. I'll take that.
Hey, nice.
And also fast text. So fun fact about this game, you may have noticed the weapon get screen, you do stuff, it gives text. It's normally not supposed to scroll, but sometimes out of nowhere, it could be dependent upon how you defeat a previous boss, it could be dependent upon all sorts of things. It just goes fast and saves you like 2 seconds. And so I've had 2 fast texts this run. But now we're on to my favorite stage. This is Last Hornet, and this is a completely unique stage they made for Xtreme 2. While this boss was in X3, the stage was not formatted like this. It wasn't a bunch of the platforms here like this. It was a much more generic army-based looking stage, and I love this version of it. It's really fun to go through, lots of good platforming, and again, it's a wholly unique layout. There's also a really cool skip we're going to do right here. Because we have X and Zero, we can do things that aren't normally possible in either of their individual missions. The first of which being we can just skip this platforming section to our left by using the up dash as X, and skipping all that like that. Pretty neat. We're gonna go over here and get another piece of armor for Zero. We need to use the drill crush to break those blocks, and we have our good old friend Dr. Light. I was about to say Wily. No, it's not. From the previous game, I was like, Wily is on the brain. Okay. This is the body armor, and the body armor reduces all damage by half, so you take half as much damage, and so that's pretty useful. That's also part of the reason why I like 100%. It's relatively safer. All bosses are from previous SNES titles. Oh, am I gonna get a good RNG pattern? Almost. Almost perfect RNG here. This is an RNG boss. It will select 2 of the 4, and the ideal pattern is to get 2 on the left and then 2 on the right. That was really smooth. That's also why I do the split here. The order of bosses in this game is actually pretty free-flowing. And I remember, because this is a fairly small community we have here in Xtreme 2, I remember routing these directly with some other people to figure out, this is my routing. Some people will do it slightly differently. They might go for this one third. But I like to go for this one fourth because, you know, it's safer with the up dash to do that skip. You can do it as Zero alone, but... Am I too early there? Oh yeah, I am. Well... That would have been great had I not messed up that last boss, but still really smooth overall. I just barely started that Zero final a bit too late.
It's an RNG boss. We can blame the RNG all the way. That's all right.
Oh, not the main boss.
Oh.
The main boss isn't RNG. I just mistimed that. I got good RNG on the mini boss, which is what I was referring to.
Don't worry, just nobody will tell. Just blame the RNG.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, yeah, it's the RNG, everyone. Wow. I can't believe that RNG was like that. Dang.
It's never the runner's fault. Everybody
Never.
should know this by now. Time loss is never our fault.
This is, I'm forgetting the English name. Overdrive Ostrich, because I know it is Sonic Ostrich in Japanese, which is one of the funniest names I've ever heard. Overdrive Ostrich here has the Ride Chaser, so this is essentially an automated section. We do 2 of them. This has quite a lot of damage boosting here. I love this section, so let's see if I can get it right. These tornadoes here are instant death, but if you manage to use these enemies to your advantage to get damage from, you can save quite a lot of time. Let me just jump here. Back. In between the 2, there you go. And I have to be careful with this, because this has still ruined me before. Okay, I played that really safe. I actually just mistimed my jump. I'm supposed to do a higher jump and then just a regular jump to get into that section. But I didn't notice that, so I immediately just tried to wall climb as fast as possible to not hit the instant death, and it worked, so totally intentional. This is the final piece of armor for Zero, so we are now fully done with Zero's armor capsules. There we go, what a fully complete boy he is. He doesn't change sprite at all for his full armor, unlike X. And now we have another autoscore section. So the weirdest part about the Ride Chaser here, there are 2 ways to attack with it. This sort of like, you can see where it like rears up and does that. There are 2 ways to do that. You can press B, which locks you in place and means you can't jump for some reason, or you can press up, which allows you to jump and move. I have no idea why they made the better version of it less accessible, but it's sort of how it works. And now we get on to Overdrive Ostrich. You may have noticed the 2 bosses that we have from X2 retain the fact that they have some sort of mechanic that just takes a long time. So for instance, because of him going back to the screen here, I have to wait for him to come back to finish him off. In Wire Sponge, the issue was you wanted to make sure to get him while he does the vine move into the air, because otherwise you'll hit the, you'll hit his, like, the word is blanking on me, sorry about that. The, like, when you're on low health, Desperation Attack, which takes, like, 15 seconds to get through. Really frustrating to do, so you want to make sure to account for that when you actually run through. So this is Flame Mammoth from X1, and this is not the music from Flame Mammoth from X1. In the Japanese release of Mega Man Xtreme 2, for some reason they got the 2 stages mixed up, and so Launch Octopus's theme plays in the fire stage, you know, the Water Maverick plays in the fire stage, and Flame Mammoth's theme, the Fire Maverick, plays in the water stage. I didn't actually notice that those themes were mismatched until like 3 years after I started running. I was like, wait, it just fits. The music just kind of fits anyways. So this is actually a little bit of a sequence break that we just did. Because we have Zero, and he has the parts that allow him to break blocks with his head, which X doesn't have at this moment, we're able to get into that capsule early. Normally in X's mission alone, that capsule requires you to revisit this stage after doing Flame Mammoths to get Flame Mammoth's weapon. Because the armor part that allows you to break blocks with your head as X is in Neon Tiger's stage, but it requires the capsule from Flame Mammoth's. Or sorry, it requires Flame Mammoth's weapon, not the capsule. So you have to revisit if you're doing X mission alone. But because we have Zero fully upgraded now, there is no need to do that. Let me see if I can get some. You might have been noticing at certain points I'm jumping like, let's see if I can get it. Can't get that. You may have been noticing that sometimes I jump after I land and then I keep the dash momentum. Those are called momentum jumps, and they're actually pretty important in movement. I think it's like the last frame or so before you land, you can press a jump button and it will maintain your dash momentum in that. It's important that you keep in mind how to move for that. You might be noticing that I'm not finishing this boss as Zero. It's for the same reasons I mentioned before. Because Zero himself... We need X's weapon. Another gold, very good. We need X's weapon to get the armor capsule in the next stage. So we must get the boss as X. If you beat a boss in this game as either X or Zero in this mode, you only get that weapon for that character. So, essentially, you have to do that, or else you cannot do 100% in this run. So it's very good that I almost thought I misinputted and actually was about to kill as Zero. That's not what you want. Now we're on to Neon Tiger. We actually mainly play as X in this, which is neat. We don't actually see that too often in this mode. Right armor again. Knowing when to punch is really important because of how it preserves momentum. It's really funky. Get the capsule there. So that's a momentum jump, for instance. It is the fastest form of movement in this game, but it's not like super reliable because it's, well, you know, really tight. Using the tool assist speedrun a lot, though. So that is what we need to get Flame Mammoth done first to get into this capsule, which allows us to get the other capsule that we already got done. So, you know. We're going to switch to Zero while on top of here. Remember that I mentioned if you switch closer to the top of the screen, it's faster. So less time is spent there. Got on this. Gonna get higher so I can get hit there. And just hover over, we've basically despawned all the enemies that normally appear on top of here, and we just go right into the boss.
I tell you what, those vehicles look super, super fun to control. They look like, how much time do they cut off?
They look fun to control. They're actually kind of finicky at points.
Oh no.
Like most Mega Man, like most people who played a Mega Man X game know, doing the right armor properly is a feat of engineering. Oh, come on. Oh, boy. There we go. Bit of a bad boss there, honestly, but not too bad. I also need to defeat this one as X for the same reason I want X's weapon here. Not because I need it, but because it's faster. So we're gonna get Rayclaw here. One really weird thing about menuing in this game, by the way, that I failed to mention, this game sort of maintains inputs, like... So what I did there to immediately menu onto Launch Octopus was hold left as soon as I hit the continue without saving option. It will input that first frame, so you need to make sure that you timed it at the right point, obviously, in order to get that, because if you do it too late or too early, you will just stay on the thing. It is risky to do in certain places, because if you hit the wrong... I've lost about like 2 minutes in runs before just because I selected the wrong boss and couldn't exit the stage, because you just can't. You've also probably have noticed the flashing points, like the ones up here, this, where it flashes. That is an auto-save screen. This game actually has save points and checkpoints that are savable, so if I reset the game, I can load from the point just there. Also, funny enough, while we just destroyed the ship, as soon as it explodes, the floor below it is also destroyed. I kind of like that. actually faster to just not wait for it to like despawn, because the floor is already despawned as soon as you destroy that. Okay, so this is the secret mini boss of this area, and doing so allows us to get the final armor capsule for X, which will mean we have his full armor, and the way you can tell that is his sprite changes. Yeah, the music is jarring, right? As soon as you notice it, the music is like, oh my gosh, how did I not notice this earlier? It just sounds like X1 music to me. So this is the fully armored X. He has Giga Crush here, but we don't actually use that. It's a much like Zero Final. It's a screen clearing move that is, instead of being just taking your weapon energy, it takes energy from every point you get hit. It's very similar to the ones in like X5 and so. So if you get hit and then take damage, you'll like get it there. Okay, we did good RNG this.
The music might be jarring, but I've got to say that this level does look gorgeous.
Yeah, this is incredible. Remember that this has all been a GBC game, and I've been playing on actual hardware. This for Game Boy Color is incredibly good. Capcom knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Pretty tight.
I'm honestly glad to be showing this off, because this is actually the first time I believe Xtreme 2 has been shown off on GDQ's channel. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So we're gonna make Calamari, and we just... So this is not technically the weakness for Overdrive Octopus. Launch Octopus, excuse me. Overdrive Octopus, ooh.
That's a good name. We can roll with that.
We don't. We won't.
Oh, okay.
But basically we can, like... We can, weaken him. He'll basically go into this point where he can't do any attacks if we use, Ray Claw. Whereas otherwise he might have some points where he's invincible, and so it's just better to get it out of the way and do that. This is, the Berkana and Gareth Fortress stages. These are actually somewhat unique, and also you can die. This cycle here is very bad. Because Zero's sprite is so big, you'll actually clip through the floor there, and if you don't know how to time your air dashes properly there, you can easily fall off and die, but you know, it's not that bad. It's at the very beginning of the stage, but it is really funny to just see Zero just fall fast and die. Don't do that normally, please. Again, another place where you can use momentum jumps perhaps if you want to improve. But again, it's not like super convenient to get momentum jumps, but if you do get a good chain of them, like a chain of 6 or something, it's like, ooh, you're styling out. Climbing up walls as well, it's not just mashing, there's like a rhythmic to it, there's like a rhythm to it, because you want to stick onto the wall, which isn't quite the same as just mashing A. Yeah, for these stationary enemies, I like using Drill Crush, because Drill Crush does constant damage on anything below it, and so you can get those pretty easily done. Alright, so this is Pupper. Wolfo? Doggo. Him. We're going to use Zero Final. We're actually going to use Drill Crush, because sprite is too low to hit with normal Jump Slash. And then Zero Final again, and there you go. Not bad, considering we had a death there, to be honest.
Now, Focus, I gotta ask, what got you into this game? Was this one that you used to play when you were younger, or what was the appeal to it?
So I actually got this game originally on 3DS Virtual Console when I was like 14 or something. I was like, I'd never heard of these titles before. Because I mean, I'm only like oh, wait, let me just do this first. This is platform skip, so there's a normal platform there that you have to wait for, and you just literally just hope you don't get hit, because if you get hit, the platform will switch back to the other side. But you can damage boost using not only the armor we have, but also the extended air dashes that X gets compared to Zero, and the ground dashes, just to skip all of that, which is really cool. If you fail it, you die, so that's fun, right? But to explain more about why I got into Xtreme 2, oh, that's funny as well. We did the funny, everyone. Good. Good. I'm happy. The one glitch that exists in this game, really. I was playing it, I honestly was just like, wow, this is really complex for a Game Boy Color title. This seems really interesting. It is one of, if not the only game that I was just like, I had so much fun with this casually, let me just run this. That's sort of where I am today. I started running in 2017 for this, and I I got world record for this category just a few months back and reclaimed it again when it was taken. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm really happy with Xtreme 2, and you know, it's just such a fascinating anomaly. People don't look at the Game Boy Color and think great games, but the Game Boy Color is such a unique console. I'm also going to do something here. This is one of the most difficult bosses in the run. So I'm going to try to get into the middle of both of them. And what you want to do is use Zero Final once, hope it hits both faces, then you need to wait a little bit, not as long as normal, to go back in and then use Zero Final again. After that, you can use Jewel Crush to get both of them knocked out just like that. Pretty simple. Part shop here, we're gonna get both X-Saber. I'm mixing together a lot of things this commentary. X-Buster +1 and +2, those stack, so if you have +1 and +2, it's actually +3. Same with Zero, which is why we bought Zero Saber +2. We also bought Ultimate Buster, which is a permanent charge shot. We need that for the final boss of this run. So I'm gonna go over and equip that for Zero. And X only has 2 parts, two slots, weirdly enough. If he has full armor, he only has 2 slots for parts. But if he doesn't have full armor, he has 4. It's weird that they downgraded something when you get the armor, but they did. You can't have as many parts. I need to get into this section as X. Have to. Because this is where it diverts in X mission and Zero mission. X faces against Berkana, Zero faces against Gareth. In extreme mode, the boss you face, the area you go to, is dependent upon who you are playing the instant you reach this area. I need to play as X, not only because X has a better boss, has less text here, but we actually, I sneakily didn't talk about the secret armor capsule, which contains the Street Fighter moves, the Shoto moves. So, that's in this game. We have to collect it for 100%, but it also doesn't add anything because it needs charge shots. We don't have those. Also, how are you supposed to do this section without the up dash? The wall to your left, can't jump on it. The wall, the water comes immediately and it's instant kill. You can't jump over all of that. So I don't know how they intended for you to get through that without getting the 1 armor capsule in Volt Catfish's stage, but okay. Sure, Capcom. More bats. We're gonna just jump up to here. And this is not actually what it is, haha! It's a surprise. And this is the Street Fighter moves. Again, we just need to collect them. They aren't useful because they require a charge shot, and they actually do only 5 damage in this game. They are not instant kill like in other X games. You know what else does 5 damage now with our parts equipped? Our base Buster. We have a Shoryuken and Hadouken in our regular shot because of the part shop. So there's no real need to get the moves other than for completion's sake. So now we have Berkana, and I'm gonna ask everyone here, who hates the alphabet? Who hates the letters A and B in particular? I think we all should, because A and B fight. They fight pretty hard. So
yeah,
Berkana here...
I've never liked A or B, I will confess.
I want my C button like a Genesis, come on. Come on,
yes.
Nintendo.
Preach it.
I was about to say, so yeah, so these are... I'm messing up the timing. So we need to jump at our peak of height. Hit Berkana. And we need to avoid getting hit by either A or B, because those will disable the respective button. If you get hit by B, it will mean you can't shoot, but you can only jump, and it will change the layout of the stage to like add icicles and stuff. But if you just avoid those or shoot them, it's actually really simple. Also, oh my god, it's Sigma? Who would have thought that behind all of this was Sigma? It's Sigma, everyone. Look at him. In all Game Boy Color glory. It sure is. Who would have guessed? It's just really funny, because it's just like there's no real point for Sigma to be here, but he's here. You could have been the first X game to have a true female antagonist, but no, you just make her a puppet of Sigma. Come on. Come on. Come on, Capcom. In 2001. Do better. I'm just going to jump up here, up dash, avoid the spike, wait for the screen to scroll a little bit more, and we have our usual boss rush right now. To start off the boss rush, though, I need to switch over to Rayclaw. We're going to once again make Calamari. But before I finish making Calamari, I need to do some more menuing. So I'm going to de-equip both of those, and I'm going to switch back to my regular Buster for the final fight. Zero now has 6 points of damage for every jump slash. 6. Note that Zero Final does 10 points of damage and you only have 2 of them, so our strategy for this refight section is actually very different. We just do jump slashes. It's slower now to try to do Zero Final. Not to mention less effective on as many enemies. Wait. I did not like that. I'm gonna be safe here and get the, so I've had a sub-tank this entire time. I'm gonna use that now. Just because I don't like that damage I took there. It's really annoying to try to hit him with jump slashes at the proper time. There we go. The 4 ones from X's mission are at the bottom floor here, so that's what we're doing first, and then we're gonna go up to the upper 4. Try not to get health in the middle so that we don't lose time. Just 5 jump slashes, well technically 6, because we have just the last one that needs 2 hits. Pretty good. That was a very, very, very good bullet catfish right there. And now come the 2 X2 bosses. These are the real breaking points in the boss refights. The real points where we just have to be like, oh, is it gonna be good? It's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good. Unfortunately, we didn't have the best luck there. Not horrible, but again, it's best if you don't get those whatsoever.
Did I hear another excuse to blame RNG?
Yes, but that one's actually there.
Yes.
This is now Wire Sponge. Ideally, I want him to, well, kind of not do that, actually, because I know I'm too overpowered. I'm gonna wait. Oh, this is a weird cycle. Do Zero Final there. There we go. I just don't want him to do the anger move where he goes, ah, I'm going to shoot lightning like sponges do. It's kind of weird that we get lightning from a sea creature, but you know, sure. This is Blast Hornet. Hopefully better this time. I'm just short of the timing. You can get it really nice and smooth to the point where you're basically like constantly getting them hit right after they you know, lose invincibility frames, and it looks really smooth. It's just a constant flashing. It doesn't even look like awkward or weird at all. We're also approaching the end of the game very soon. This is the final main boss, or the final refight. Very clean. Okay, so now we're getting on to the final fight, which is Sigma. He has 2 forms, and very awkwardly, his first form is weak to something we've not used yet. His first form, and his second form technically, but not in the same way. He is weak to the air dash slash. The air dash slash is double tapping A as 0 and pressing B immediately thereafter. That does 8 points of damage with the +1 and +2 equipped. 5 normally. So this first phase, we just throw ourselves at him and get him to eat air dash. Oh, like that. Flashing lights warning. Immense flashing lights warning right now. This final boss here is super flashy for some reason. They did not think this through properly. We're gonna switch to X, which we've equipped Ultimate Buster onto. He needs the charge shots here in order to actually get hits in, which you don't normally have as X because we don't have charge on. That there. If he's yellow, he is only weak to X. If he's pink, he's only weak to 0. And I think if he's blue, well, yellow, I think should be weak to both because it doesn't make sense for the blue one to be weak to both when everything else is color coded. He takes 4 cycles to destroy, so we just need to do 4 air dash slashes. Oh, we actually got a decent pattern there. And time. 3606. That is extremely good. Wow.
Extremely good. I see what you did there.
That's only like 30 seconds off world record. That's pretty
Wow.
good.
Wow.
Pretty good.
GG. GG.
And it ends with a bang, quite literally. Yeah, that's why I was like, that's what I meant when I, you know, said that there's flashing lights warning. They stopped caring. They stopped caring for some reason.
Yeah, you made that
Yeah,
boss look super easy. That last boss rush, that was smooth.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. So the ending is, hey, all the souls are released again into the ether, where I guess they'll return to their robot homes? I don't know.
Does it get explained anywhere else, or do they just sort of leave?
It's mentioned in X6. It's mentioned as the Erasure Incident, is said by name to be the Erasure Incident and nothing more. It's technically plot-wise there, but it's just like, hey, I guess it's just like, you know, we just have a bit more soul in our atmosphere now. They also, the funniest thing is, when we went to the part shop, you know what we did there, right, and everything there? The items, the drops that we get are called souls. So we're spending, the money in this universe is the souls that we're collecting, and we use them to buy stuff? Which doesn't make sense.
That almost seems quite morbid.
Mega Man. That's my explanation for that. Well,
yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me here. If you're interested in what I do and what I run a lot of the other X series games. I am learning X3. I also run X7. I am mainly actually a Sonic 06 speedrunner, which is where some of you may have seen me before on GDQ's channel. But this is a game as a passion of mine. I absolutely adore the Extreme titles. I run both 1 and 2. And this one is just really, really fun, and I think super overlooked. The fact that they managed to cram this with all these features from even the 32-bit titles on the PSX games into an 8-bit cartridge, less powerful than the first Mega Man X game. Fantastic. I genuinely adore this title, and I implore you to look more into it and get the games themselves. If you have a 3DS, it's $5. That's it. Have some fun with it. It'll be a bit of a learning curve getting used to the way that movement works, because it's not playing like in a traditional X game, but as soon as it clicks really well. So yeah, if you want to follow me at all, I am Focusite on Twitter and on Twitch. And thank you so much, Hypnotics, for inviting me to this event. I'm a pleasure to be in your inaugural episode.
That's all right. Thank you so much. And I know it's only the debut episode, but that was the strongest sort of like vote of recommendation for a game. I love the passion that you have for this. So thank you so much for showing it off.
Thank you, absolutely. And make sure to keep on watching still. We're going to be going from generation to generation now, which is what I loved about the order here. We're going on to the next Nintendo handheld, the Game Boy Advance.
Brilliant. Yes. So we have Time Link coming up next with Mega Man 04. And that will be up very shortly, but please do stick around. We won't be gone for that long. And yeah, we have some more gaming in store. So Focus, thank you so much once again, and everybody
Absolutely.
Stay around. Hello everybody, welcome back to Going Places, the GDQ hotfix that looks at region exclusive games as well as the games that we take on the go, the games that we try out on handheld devices, and that is what we're looking at today. We have had some brilliant Mega Man action so far, and it's going to keep rolling. We have Time Link that is about to show off Mega Man 04 for us. Another step up in the years, so an even bigger sort of technical upgrade from the last run, which was very, very well done from Focus. So Time Link, it's all yours.
04. We are advancing in the series chronologically in several ways. This game was released on the Game Boy Advance, unlike the ones before it, and you can see the quality start to improve slowly over time. And it's also part of the Zero series, which is chronologically after the X and the Classic series. Well, Classic coming before X in this case. This one plays 100 years after X, with the story basically being another huge war happened, this time known as the Elf Wars, and the line between humans and Reploids draws, like, it becomes more of a blur, and they're all trying to get along, but in 03, this evil ruler decided he was gonna show up and ruin everyone's day in this settlement called Neo Arcadia. Zero defeated him, or so he thought, but at the start of this game, we get to see a huge settlement of humans escaping, and they're being attacked by evil Reploids again, so it's our duty as Zero to save them. There will actually be very little Mega Man in this run. Now, in this series, Zero kind of takes over, but This series, while maybe a bit lesser known, is still absolutely fantastic, and this is one of my favorite entries, so I'm very excited to show it off.
Brilliant.
So-
Well, when you're ready, it's all yours.
All right. So 0-4. Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. All right. So, first things first, adjust controls. 0-4. This is the 1-0 game where Zero actually starts with his full moveset. No need to level up weapons like in the previous games, and no need to get any weapons later on. We start with the Z Buster, the Z Saber, and the new Z Knuckle, which is a pretty handy weapon because it can grab the weapons that enemies use and use them against them, which most of them are just kind of fun and gimmicky, but there are a handful that are actually really strong. One of which we'll be seeing against the intro boss right here already. In the stage, I grabbed this bomb crate, and I can actually use these bombs against the sub-desert core right here. And as you use more of them, they get stronger and stronger, and the intro stage is already over. This game is pretty fast-paced. There's a lot to cover. I'll try and get to it as best as I can, but I might not be able to get to everything. That's just how it is. Basically, if I'm not playing a stage, I'm probably text mashing. There's very little downtime. The next stage is Area 0. It's pretty technical. There's a manipulation that we want to do because this game has a crafting system and you can recycle random enemy drops into gear pieces. And there's a particularly important one for the run called the double jump, which you can probably guess what it does. And we want to try and eliminate the randomness in the drops as best we can. So I'll try and play this stage a very consistent way. If something I'm doing looks odd, it's probably intentional. That's at least gonna be my excuse for movement mistakes. You can screw up a bit. We know exactly what changes the RNG at this point. And you can still get it. If I don't get it, it's not a disaster, but it would help a lot. Because it's actually 2 separate 1 in 8 random drops that I want to get right here. There are certain RNG checkpoints, so to speak, where basically by the drops I'm getting, I can tell if I'm still on like the correct RNG value. So far, it's looking good. This enemy drops apart, and then right near the end of the stage, I should be getting 2 back-to-back pot drops from enemies called Sea Hopper, which is this guy, and that was a mistake. That might be fine. Yeah. Sea Hopper, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And this guy, second pot drop, Gyro Cannon H. That's 2 1 in 8s back-to-back, manipulated, and we got them both. Let's go.
I have to ask, I know that it happened right at the start of the run, but did you have to sort of map your keys at the start of the run whilst the time is running?
Yep, that's something that has to be done on time in Zero series, because you only get access to that option in-game.
Oh, wow.
You can't configure it before the start.
As somebody who hates menuing, that really, I was just like, oh no, that would really annoy me, but nicely done. And wow, that boss, you just did the boss, wow.
The menus in this game are actually really quick and satisfying once you learn them. The boss, it's pretty simple really, it doesn't have much of a hitbox. The combos are very simple. I'll get more into the combos on the other bosses. We'll be using the same kind of thing on the next 2, I believe. But now that we've cleared the 2 introduction stages, so to speak, we're gonna get to the main meat of the game soon. Basically where Classic had the 8 Robot Masters and the X series had the 8 Mavericks. The Zero series has the 8 Mutos Reploids, and we're gonna get to our stage select, so to speak, soon. As far as routing goes, it's pretty much based off of 2 things at the moment. Which Mutos gives us good EX skills, which are basically techniques Zero learns off of them. Kind of like special weapons, but unlimited. and which gives us more parts for the double jump, because we also want to complete that as soon as possible. Our first Mewtwo's is Poplococapetri. This guy gives us a fantastic, basically mid-boss killer EX skill. And I guess I have something to mention about the EX skills. If you were introduced to the series by an earlier entry, namely 0, 2, and 3, in those games, whether or not you got an EX skill was determined by your hunter rank. So if you entered at an A or above, you would get one. If not, then, well, sorry, but sadly we can reward you. And that kind of made those games difficult to pick up. 0-4 changes that finally, and they just decided that, okay, that was interesting. They just decided that instead of the super punishing system, they would rather have people like opt in and decide if they want to do the stage at a normal difficulty or an easier difficulty. And for whoever clears the normal difficulty, they'll just get the EX skill. They implemented like a weather system where you can just kind of change the difficulty of the stage, and if you just don't change it from what it normally is, then you'll get the EX skill. So a few times in this run, we'll intentionally turn the weather to easy because the EX skills don't matter for the stage. My cycles are way off right here. But most of the time we'll leave it on difficult because most of the EX skills are quite good. Usually I have a really comfy cycle for this part, where I can really easily get through this section, but because of the death, things were offset quite a bit. That was unfortunate. Something convenient about the routing is this stage, like I said, basically gives us a mid-boss killer, and it's also the only one not to feature a traditional mid-boss itself. You just have to pull out these handles, and for our purposes, make sure that you finish down here on the bottom, because that'll actually determine the path you take through the stage from here. And this path happens to be a little bit faster, unless you are doing the junk route, which I'll get to in a bit. For this last stretch, there is actually a very dangerous spike damage boost coming up. I really hope I get this. Well, I'll do a bit of specific camera manipulation and line. Okay, that's unusual. I should get some extra lives. I'll line up an enemy a certain way so that I can get a long period of iframes and damage boost across a huge spike bed, hopefully. This actually does worry me a little, because Poplococapetri is a very unpredictable boss, and I really hope I don't go game over here. That would be a pretty huge time loss.
That's alright, I believe in you. I'm sure the chat believes in you too. You got this.
Alright.
Let's see.
I'll wait for the next platform. Alright. I didn't get the second jump, but that's less fatal. I just have to get some good luck on Poplococapetri right here.
Alright, we blessing this. We're gonna bless
Alright. Cocapetri is really unpredictable. He has a ton of attacks. I'll probably try and focus right here. This is a good pattern because he can just go really passive and just jump around like this, and that's exactly what I'm looking for right now. I'll try and... Okay, I was trying to not jinx it, but that's... I'm very thankful that still worked out. I'll try and pick up a safety extra life or two if I can find one. That was a more than unfortunate Cocapetri stage, but it's fine. Just getting the deaths out of the way early. There are more fatal ones you can take later. So with that, we got the Time Stopper. Its intended function is basically to temporarily stop enemies. We're gonna be using it for that a bit, but mostly we are gonna be abusing another interaction with it on mid-boss that you'll see shortly. Next stage is going to be Noble Mandrago. This stage has another really useful EX skill for us that'll allow us to properly make use of the game's combo system. They adjusted it quite a bit after it was really easily exploitable in a couple past games like X5 and X6, and even 01. And I'll go into detail about that a bit more. For now, I'll equip this, and now I'm going to overlay Time Stop on this mid-boss with a charge slash, and you can see the lag right there, but that was actually not lag. That was the charge slash hitting every frame for as long as that Time Stopper window's up. That mid-boss has 96 HP, and I took care of it in 2 7 damage charge slashes, because I was able to do tons of damage with just those. Very conveniently, in the second half of this stage, there's a sub-tank right here, which, if you don't know what those are, these basically store overflow energy. Like, if you're already at full health, and you pick up more, then it goes into here. And there happens to be a huge health refill right here, which will completely fill it to maximum. And that means I can basically regenerate energy as I wish from now. It'll deplete from the sub-tank, but one fill lasts you pretty long, and it should make the stages from here a lot safer. Alright. Noble Mandrago, a bit luck-based. Since this is on hard weather, she can heal mid-battle. There are some really nasty patterns because she can go invincible or disappear inside walls or ceiling at any time. She appears on the ceiling like that, it's not good. If she appears on the ground, you can actually just keep attacking her pretty well, and that's like the best strat. Otherwise, you just have to hope she stays in place and shoots those speed cannons or whatever. That was pretty okay. Alright, that gives us the Sky Chaser. And the Sky Chaser doesn't really do what its name would imply. It's actually the down slash, and this combos nicely after the triple slash for, I believe, a good 8 extra damage. Next stage is going to be Heat Genblem. This one has a really easy manipulation right at the start, where you can consistently get a Ganga gun, which is going to be the third part for our double jump. Also enable the Sky Chaser right here, and then we'll be seeing Time Stopper's intended use very briefly to disable some enemy hitboxes right here on the remaining Ganga guns, and right after, we'll see its broken use again against this next mid-boss. This one has a whopping 128 HP, which I'm not completely convinced is intentional, but we can take care of it relatively easily. Okay, that was a bit sketchy. Usually after you get 2 good damage stacks in, there's not much left, so I try and finish it out without doing a third. And now we come to one of the worst parts in this run. This is a bit of a luck fest. I need to get the 4th part for the double jump right here off of this enemy called Fatal, and it can really be fatal to the run if it doesn't go right. Because again, this is a 1 in 8 drop. There is a manipulation for this. It's somewhat recent, but it's really difficult. I'll pick this up for safety, because I'm pretty sure I'm still at 0 lives. So I'm basically hoping to pick this up along the way. If not, I'll have to grind for it. It shouldn't take too long, and I've definitely planned for this within the estimate. It looks like I'll have to grind a bit. But there's not really... Oh, there it is. Okay. There's not really a way around getting it, sadly. Because it's just... The double jump is so useful in almost all of the later stages. Alright. So, with all 4 double jump parts in hand, we can fight Heat Genblem. This guy's a bit weird to explain. I'm pretty much hoping he goes right into his second phase, which he did. And right here, I'm just gonna knuckle up and then use the Sky Chaser, which is interesting, because after use it at the very peak of my jump, and then damage boost off of the flames, and hopefully I take... Okay, no, I'm I'm sub-tanking. He was already supposed to be dead, but that was a bit of a weird ending. Using Sky Chase at the very peak of your jump like that is weird, but it actually does work out surprisingly well in this fight to make it pretty smooth.
That was a good recovery. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Now there's one potentially fatal thing that can happen right here if I don't select the right enemy parts for crafting and I don't get my double jump, but I've done this often enough to where I should be able to recognize what I'm crafting here. I hope I did. Yep, there's the double jump. Cool. So from here on out, the game gets a lot more fun, I think. The movement gets pretty smooth. This is the first stage I'm going to enter with easy weather because it makes an elevator section much faster later. This is Fenrir Lunar Edge, the ice stage for this game. And you're already going to see right here, I'm just going to jump around this and climb up from the outside because you can double jump pretty much whenever. And you can like dash jump and double jump. You can combine all of that. Make ridiculous distances and heights, and you get your double jump back pretty much whenever you touch your wall or ground, so it's like super convenient, and it's also just super fun. This mid boss, this one's a bit weird. We want to basically be in the middle, take a lot of damage boosts right here, and just wiggle the saber from left to right. To get good damage in on all of these at once. If you can like wiggle really well and you're at just the right position, you can do it in like 2, but 4 or even 5 is like average. Something that the double jump is also really useful for is canceling like ending lag on strong weapons, because like with the charge slash you can see whenever I use it on the ground, I get stuck for a bit, I can't move, but I can still use a charge slash and then double jump, and like, I'll have the powerful hitbox out in front of me and I can kill enemies with it, and I won't be stopped, I'll just continue flying through the air. It's really fun.
Now, whilst you're getting through here, shall I let you talk for the boss?
Yeah, sure. Fenrir Lunar Edge is very simple. Because of this is on easy weather, there are no ice physics on the floor right here. We'll see those later. Basically, our new combo, like, meta is going to be Charge Knuckle for 7 into Flame Fang, which is Heat Genblem's technique, for 7, or in this case 10, because Lunar Edge is actually weak to it, and then Sky Chaser for, I believe, 8. And sometimes, like on longer bosses, we'll even do a triple slash, but this is a super fast and super strong combo that we've gotten at this point.
Nicely done. Yeah, I was going to ask that sort of when I saw this submission come in, I thought, this is an interesting name for a category, no junk, and I wonder, I'm sure there are a few in our audience who are wondering, what does no junk mean in the sense of Mega Man 04?
Right, so no junk is technically less of a category, it's more of a, I need to disable time stopper. It's more of a routing thing. Basically, through the same crafting system that I got the double jump with, you can get something called the junk armor. And the junk armor is interesting because it's not actually junk. What it does is it doubles the damage you receive, but also the damage you deal. So some like really skilled people will go out of their way, do a couple extra manipulations and craft the junk armor, and they'll like save a ton of time in later bosses and boss refights, because they'll be dealing double damage and killing the bosses in half time basically. And especially with how luck heavy some of them are, you can really get a lot out of the end game.
Interesting. That sort of sounds like would you say that it's a hard mode? Like a hard variation of the run? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like for really experienced people. I think there's like one run on the leaderboard that does it, and I don't think it's the world record, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm impressed though.
Definitely wouldn't recommend anyone to start out doing that, but I mean, if you want, feel free. Right, story. The settlement is under attack. The human settlement has been attacked by Reploids, with this guy as their leader. This is Commander Kraft, and probably one of the worst boss fights. This is one of the ones where it's easiest to have to sub-tank. I have 2 by now, and they should both be relatively full. So it's not like it's a big deal if I have to sub-tank. But this guy has a couple nasty attacks up his sleeve. Alright. We'll be seeing him again, don't worry. We'll be getting more of him. But Kraft in the last cutscene just kidnapped Niche, who was basically the only human from the settlement we really knew. She was the one who we met first after the caravan in the intro stage, and well, the humans in the settlement don't really trust us, but the youth from the settlement basically call in here and ask for us to save Niche, so that's exactly what we'll do. We'll break into the prison and set her free. You might have noticed these are not the Mutos Reploid stages anymore. This game is basically split up into 2 intro stages, then 4 Mutos, then 2 intermission stages, then the other 4 Mutos, and then 4 Fortress stages. That's 16 in total. It's one of the lengthier Mega Man games, I would say. But it's definitely not as punishing as the earlier entries in the series. This one's really easy to pick up, I would say. Alright. This mid-boss is called Hell the Giant, and I think that's wonderful. I actually really like this fight. This is probably one of my favorites in the series, because as you can see, he doesn't really have a hitbox on his head, and it's super easy to do this super satisfying combo of Charge Knuckle, Flame Fang, Sky Chaser. It's really powerful, and you can do it so easily. He just goes down.
I need to hear the name of this boss again. What was it called?
Hell the Giant.
Hell the Giant.
Fantastic.
That's incredible. I want that framed somewhere. That's amazing.
Yeah. Alright, so we saved Niche, but for some reason, like, the signal's jammed, we can't get out, so we'll have to make our escape manually. This segment is deceptively difficult, I'd say. It's deceptively easy to die near the end right here. There's a couple traps that you need to step on these switches or pull these levers to remove them, but that's only temporary, and I feel like a lot of the time they retract like super fast. Double jump definitely helps in like staying away from the spikes. They're not instant death or anything. There's still this segment coming up, which I like to take a lot of damage in for some reason. I'm not sure. You have to tell where the enemies on the ground come from, or when they come rather, from sound cues. And this last one likes to fake you out by giving it super early sound cue. Alright, but that's the second intermission stage done, so we can continue on fighting the Mutos Reploids. They're actually called the... Forgive me for the pronunciation, I think it's like Einhadjaw 8 Warriors? I'm not sure how exactly to pronounce them, but they're all kind of based off of mythological creatures. Alright. Next one is Soul Titanion. This stage we put on easy weather again. Don't really care about the EX skill in this case, and the stage's main gimmick is that you have this super harsh artificial sun burning down. And you can pretty much see the sunlight and the shadow spots right here. This is a very vertical stage, so double jump saves a lot of time here. This is like one of the stages where it's absolutely most vital to have it. Because this stage is on easy weather, the sun counter will be going up a lot more slowly than usually, and I can take some riskier strats without having to hide in the shadow too much. But there are still some cases where it's like difficult to do. This mid-boss is a literal glass cannon, and I should probably mention, we just picked up a super powerful Z-Knuckle weapon, the Great Axe. This axe, it's basically an on-demand charge slash with a super long lingering hitbox and a giant swing. So it's really, really good. It also combos into your other weapons quite nicely. So pretty much in whatever stage we can get this one, we do get it. And we get it in the final stage, so that's pretty awesome. As for Titanium herself, you would think that the Flame Fang is gonna be effective on this airborne boss, but that's actually not the case. For Titanium, the Flame Fang does less damage because the Flame Fang is fire element and so is she, so he has like a natural resistance to it. There is a weakness cycle in the Zero series. There's only 3 elements, fire, thunder, and ice. Fire beats ice, ice beats electric, and electric beats fire. And in this game, all of the EX skills are assigned an element like automatically. You can't really... In the previous games, you could basically equip elemental chips and enhance all of your weapons like that. But in this game, it's pretty much locked to the EX skills due to how easy they are to obtain. So in this case, Flame Fang is always going to be fire element and gonna do less against fire and elect bosses. Right here we have Tech Kraken. This stage is the first bit is a labyrinth, but the path is the same every time. We just make our way through. I grabbed another enemy with the Z-Knuckle earlier. Hopefully you'll see it come into use. It's a bit luck-based as to whether or not this quick kill works, but I'm really hoping I can show it off because it's super cool. Oh, that was okay. That was on me. That was on me. I could have made it work, but I was too far to the right. But effectively, what you saw in the first hit, I forgot to switch weapons. Good job, me. What you saw in the first hit was I threw the enemy's projectile the same way I would throw out the time stopper window, and I used, instead of a charge slash, I used the Flame Fang, because that actually does extra damage because this is an ice mid-boss. So I was hoping to save a menu back to Buster and Time Stopper by using 2 of those enemy projectiles, but I kind of missed the mid-boss, so, you know, you got to see what I was going for. Some of these stages are really short, especially like when you know what you're doing, you can just blaze through some of them. We're already at Tech Kraken. This fight, I actually like this fight very much. This guy, again, he has a weakness to our Flame Fang. And he also has an interesting attack where he can go into the background, and usually stuff like that wastes time, but we can actually pull him out of the background to mitigate this time loss using the Z-Knuckle, and I think that's a super cool interaction. Alright, so we get the Ice Javelin from that. That's our second Buster EX skill. There are actually only Buster and Saber EX skills in this game. In the previous ones, they had some for other weapons, but in this game, it's limited to Buster and Saber, but the Ice Javelin is going to be really useful against the next 2 bosses, because you might have been noticing, there is theming with the boss elements in this game. We saved the 2 elect bosses for last. There was 2 of each element. And that's because now that we have the Ice Javelin, we can take them out a lot easier. In particular, the 2 elect bosses in this game, Mino, Magnus, and Pegasolta Eclair, especially Pegasolta, are really annoying to do otherwise. Mino Magnus right here, some people like to put this stage up 8th, because they do a slightly different strat on the mid-boss coming up. But you can pretty much go either way, so long as you have Ice Javelin before entering this stage. And once again, we get to see the power of the Great Axe. Buster EX skills are unfortunately set up in such a way that you have to switch between them. So I can't have like time stop and ice javelin out at the same time or activated at the same time. I don't know how that would even work, but with Saber, it's basically you have to input certain things. Like for Flame Fang, I have to input up in Saber, Sky Chasers down in Saber. Ice Blade, which I didn't get from Fenry, would be down in Saber but on the ground instead of the air. So it's made like that, but for Buster that doesn't quite work, or at least they didn't want to make it work. I forgot to mention, we're doing this stage on hardware, but despite the fact I don't actually care about Mino's EX skill, because that section right there is, you don't have those magnetic fields on easy mode, and they actually just make it a lot faster to get across. Mino, this boss is pretty much either a problem boss or he's a pushover, depending on what he does. But what I want is I want to get up real close and get some good Ice Javelin hits in there. Because Ice Javelin becomes way stronger up close. Oh, this might be... Okay. Ice Javelin becomes way stronger up close to the point where if you just plant it in a boss's face, it just does like basically double damage. It's really good. Especially against the two elect bosses, which... We are now already done with 7 of the Mutos, so we have 1 to go, and I would definitely argue that he's the most annoying one of the bunch. This is Pegasalta, and we're gonna be doing this stage on easy. Don't have to care about the Yaxil, and it makes the boss a lot less of a pain.
I know it might seem a bit harsh to sort of compare this game to the other games, considering how sort of how widespread the release of them was in terms of like years and stuff. But I do have to say that they all look really good for their time, and I think this game looks really, really nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All of the Mega Man games have like a super nice and distinct art style, and I think they're all like nailed them. I think the Zero series especially, it's like not very known, but it's honestly pretty good if you've ever thought about picking it up. Like, now with... Wait, just do Time Stopper. Now that we have all of the Legacy collections, you can pretty much play, like, all of the mainline titles of, the classic X, Zero, and ZX series. So all of the main platformer series on any latest gen console and, like, Steam if you want.
That's
They're
really
actually
neat.
all really accessible, and that makes the speedrun a lot more accessible too. Like, this right here is Zero and ZX Legacy Collection gameplay from the Switch.
Okay.
That's what I'm running on, and it's pretty much, like, it's super smooth. I've not had any problems with this collection so far. Some people report, like, input lag on some of the earlier collections, but, if you want to get into Mega Man speedrunning and you don't want to, like, you haven't figured out a setup for some old console, you don't want to get a hold of some old game, then you can just pick up any of the Legacy collections and get going. Where needed, they have their own separate leaderboards to account for, like, lag and loading time differences, but some of them are even on the same leaderboard. So
Oh, that's super
there is
handy.
definitely competition for all of these.
Yeah, that's really great that it's so accessible even after however many years this one's been around. What with this one being in 2005, the fact that it's always nice when developers sort of take care of the older games and they keep them around, keep the legacy going.
Absolutely. I didn't even really get to talk about Pegasalta just now, but I'll definitely take care of that in the refight. I mean, it's a Mega Man game. You have to expect the refights. It's a tradition, and
I was about to say you did do that very quickly.
Pegasalta can be really annoying. It's even worse when you have the bad weather on, which, spoilers, that will be happening for the refights, but for now, we've defeated the 8 Einherjar warriors, and now Dr. Vile from the last game shows up and tries to threaten us with his giant space cannon, but the one he's positioned inside the space cannon, Commander Kraft, actually turns against him, and he wants to destroy Vile by firing the space cannon, which is called Ragnarok, at Neo Arcadia, where what Vile is, but the problem with that is there are still a ton of innocent humans and reploids living there as well, so we need to go and stop that. This stage, I would consider one of the hardest in the game. This is like one of the ones where I'm absolutely most likely to take a death or even the game over a few times in practice. It's strictly cycle-based. There are some really important cycles for you to make right here. I'll try and make a fast and kind of risky strat. If I don't get it, it's not that big a deal, but this is absolutely like probably the scariest stage in the... Oh, okay, that's not how I expected to die, but we'll take it slowly from here. This is absolutely the scariest stage in the run. Like, not even, no of us come close. So from here, the cycles are gonna be a bit weighty. There is a really good cycle that you can get when you just play the stage like smoothly from the beginning. And there are some really ridiculous strats you can go for, but in the interest of not dying and not game overing again, like I've done in so many practice runs by now, we'll take it a bit slowly from here because it's really frustrating to have to redo this segment over and over again.
Yeah, we certainly don't judge you for playing it safe. We'd rather see more of the run instead of more game overs.
Alright. So, as promised, Kraft makes a return, and this time, well, he's upgraded his moveset slightly, but honestly what makes this more difficult is the fact that for more optimal menuing, you want to have Z-Knuckle instead of Buster, so you can't quite start the fight long range anymore. Thankfully, I have plenty of energy in my sub-tank, so hopefully this shouldn't be a problem. I've had some really interesting deaths on this boss in the past. Alright, but our combo holds strong. So, Kraft is gone, and Vile is probably dead after that huge shot that Kraft fired earlier. The people in Neo Arcadia have been safely evacuated, and that's it, right? We've done it. We've restored peace, and we can all live our own lives now, right?
Happily ever after.
There's no danger anymore.
We've done it. We have saved the world, or have we?
Or have we? Who in the world could still be operating Ragnarok now? Oh gosh.
I wonder.
Looks like we have some unfinished business up there, but for some reason, the signal's once again jammed and we can't directly get in. So, Niche calls over and sends us some coordinates to a teleporter base, which I guess we'll have to use that to get in. It's some kind of abandoned teleporter base in Neo Arcadia. And we'll have to make the best of it. This stage is split into 4 paths. I do them in this particular order. Really, the only thing that matters is that you do the left path before the bottom path, because the left path gives you an extremely important tool that makes the bottom path significantly faster and way more pleasant. It's like borderline obnoxious to do it the quote-unquote legitimate way. But doing it in this order makes it relatively comfortable. I'd like some additional health, but really my sub-tanks are pretty full. I'm pretty well off at this part of the game. Usually I'm running around here at like half sub-tank fill or something. Oh yeah, absolutely cat jam. This entire game is like full of really good music. This entire series, really. Mega Man hardly ever disappoints with music. The only low point I can think of were like the DOS games that didn't have music at all. So that says something.
Oh wow, that's bringing back old speedrun memories.
Oh
The
yeah.
DOS games. Yeah.
there has been some interest in them every once in a while.
The signature. I love when Mega Man was purely just blue and pink and white.
Oh yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
But there's really interested in like spearrunning each and every one of the games. Every separate series has their own Discord with a dedicated channel of every single game and some side games and fan games and ROM hacks even. There's like for all kinds of Mega Man stuff that you can even think about speedrunning, there probably exists an official Discord somewhere out there, and you'll find people helping you run the games if you want to get into it, or just really in general share your passion. There's an official, the Mega Man community has their own leaderboard, and that leaderboard site has a link to pretty much all resources you could ever need for speedrunning. Source, I am in most of them myself because I've speedrun almost every series at this point, back and forth. I mean, there are potential new releases on the horizon as well. Mega Man 11 is almost old now, but I do believe there is a bright future for Mega Man. Oh yeah, to get back to the run, the drill is what I got from the left path, and it made just drilling through those blocks downwards super fast and super easy. If you didn't have that drill, you would have to bomb yourself through using really slow spawning tele bombs, and no one wants to do that. Ugh. Alright, this boss is called Random Bandom, and the name is programmed right here. There's pretty much, okay, so we won a coin flip, and that pretty much saves us half a minute worst case. It's, this boss pretty much wastes 15 seconds for every time you lose a coin flip. He either does this really long attack where he stays in the foreground for a long time, or he can like do a really slow bouncing attack and go into the background, and it's not pleasant. Thankfully, I was lucky enough to show it off today. Alright, so we have 2 stages left at this point. So we've secured access to the teleporter base into from Neo Arcadia into Ragnarok. And now we need to go and visit cyberspace to make the connection? I'm not really sure, but we are going places, that's for sure. There are... this is botched movement. There are really cool cycles with these electric things you can make in this stage if your movement is anywhat decent, but looks like that's not happening today. There is thankfully a good bit of energy at this stage, because the strat I use for the boss, not only does it have to sub-tank to full health right before the fight, it has to sub-tank again mid-fight, just because I take so many damage boosts. It's one of those fights where Fenrir's Ice Blade could potentially be useful, but you'd have to deal with a way more difficult and potentially slower version of the stage to get it, so I don't personally go for it. Alright, I'm gonna sub-tank to full health right here, and I'm actually gonna just look down onto my controller to make sure I get these inputs right, because this is very specific. This boss is called Cyball, and he's really annoying. Basically, these platforms are your biggest enemy because they're drop down. You can grab onto the bottom of them, and you can jump through them if you have the down button held while jumping, and that can really screw you over. I've fallen into the pit here many times because I wanted to down slash on the bottom platform and I just didn't get the jump off right. And I've also just been stuck, like grabbing something or being stuck on the top platform. It's not pleasant. This fight can go wrong in all sorts of ways. But That is the last regular stage. Now we're going to go to Ragnarok Control. This is stage number 16, the final one. It's actually the final one in the entire series, because this is one of the few Mega Man series to have a definitive conclusion. Whereas like most of the series are kind of open-ended, always like leaving room for sequels. This game gets a pretty definitive conclusion towards the end, and if we watch the credits long enough, I don't know how much time we'll have for that, but we may get to see what said conclusion is. For now though, we are back in Ragnarok and things are falling apart. As per usual, as per long Mega Man tradition, we gotta have refights first though. The problem about these refights is that they're all on the hard difficulty, or like what the equivalent of hard weather in this stage would be. Which means the sun counter in Titanion's fight goes up super fast, and that can get in the way a lot. Especially if he keeps doing this and placing these bombs right here in exactly the spots that I would have to hide. It's also really awkward to hit Titanion with a down slash, aka Sky Chaser. You have to set it up very specifically. You need a lot of height. You would think you could just like kind of scratch like her bottom from like just beneath her, like with Genblem. You actually need a lot of height for Titanion. I'm not sure what like the hitbox difference is, but it's way more difficult to get Sky Chasers in here. Alright, Luna Edge now has Icy Floor, another change we didn't see before. Alright, that's interesting. This one doesn't get in the way very much. It's like a minor nuisance at most, especially like if you're just focused on offense more than defense. But it can trip you up every once in a while. Next, I think this is Mandrago. Yeah, Mandrago, we've pretty much seen this fight already. She heals because of the hard weather, but it's still a bit different because now we have Flame Fang and Sky Chaser, which was her EX skill. So we can still take care of this a little bit more effectively. Ooh, okay. The way I'm routing, like quote-unquote routing the refights is I'm doing the 6 bosses first that are doable or should be done with this equip set, like Saber and Knuckle. Then that leaves Mino and Pegasolta for last, because those two need the Ice Javelin. So I need to have the Buster out for those. Saves me... oh, this... saves me a bit of time on menuing. It's pretty much the worst Kraken can do. You would think it's the attack where it disappears into the background, but it's actually this. I'm always collecting health energy for a bit of potential sub-tank energy. Sometimes I'll even go out of my way to collect them in the reverse order. Just like so that with one I can fill my health to the maximum, and with the other I can then fill my sub-tank. It shouldn't really... I shouldn't be in any dire situation from here, I don't think. Kakapetri is kind of the same as ever. He was very passive. He has like a lot of dangerous moves, but pretty basic combos to take him out here. And the last one of this, like with this equip set, is Heat Genblem, which should be pretty much the exact same. There is actually something that he can do. Ah, he didn't do it. There is something that he can do at the start, where instead of like immediately curling up into his shell and going this phase, he'll just stand there and like spit a couple fire waves. And that's actually technically more optimal for damage, but I find it's really awkward to get proper hits in whenever that happens. Alright, so now we're going back to Ice Javelin, and This is Pegasolta. I didn't really get to talk about Pegasolta, but he's especially annoying with rain in the arena. He can just dunk you down any pit and the rain pushes you, and there's like nothing you can do about it if fate decides that's how it's supposed to go for that attempt. The rain switches directions every now and then as well, and sometimes you're just at his mercy. He also just likes to dodge attacks and be annoying in general, and it's not nearly as easy to get good ice javelin hits in on this guy as it is with Mino, because he flies around the arena and does all sorts of stupid stuff, but those were pretty okay fights. Mino, last one. Hopefully this one goes a little better. That was okay. This attack is very weird. He just kind of splits apart and does interesting things with his body. It's not one of the best for damage either. What you want to see is him just standing in a corner doing some kind of junk move, but I guess that's not what's happening right now. The boss designs in this game are definitely unique. That's what I'll give it. I think most of them are really cool as well. Alright. That's the rate fights. Classic Mega Man Zero style, split in half on Saber finish as well. Alright, with that out of the way, very little stands between us and Dr. Vile. However, I mentioned this before, maybe none of you remember it, but I said we will get the axe in the final stage. And that'll be a very useful tool for us for the final fights coming up. Like I said, the axe is basically an on-demand charge slash. 7 good damage, lingering hitbox, large swing, and it definitely helps speed up the final fights right here. Ragnarok is falling apart. This entire stage is super thematic. I love it. It's like really atmospheric. And here we are, Dr. Vile Phase 1. He's fused with Ragnarok's core now and effectively become invincible. So at this point, Zero finds the only thing that's reasonably left for him to do is try and blow him up and blow this entire place to smithereens in the process so it doesn't harm anyone back on Earth. And, well, that might have consequences for him. Time is going to come up as soon as I land the final hit on this phase of Vile. And this one, he's a bit more annoying, because he can pretty much he's just shielded from attacks unless he decides to attack, which sometimes that can take a while. There are some really good attacks where you can get in a lot of damage, but most of the time he just sits there with his horn in front of the face. Alright, good thing I have lots of sub-tank energy. This fight is very dicey if you are low on sub-tanks. Nice pot drop. Alright, time should be coming up any moment as soon as I get a good attack again. It's never happened to me that the timer runs me out here. Who knows? Maybe today. Alright. And time!
Nice, GG.
Thank you. Alright. So that was Mega Man 04. That was pretty much the definitive finale for this series. There is a sequel series in Mega Man ZX, which does chronologically play after this game. And it does pick up on a lot of this game's plot, but it's not like a direct sequel. It's just, well, a sequel series that does something completely different. I don't know how much time we have to watch all of this, but most of you probably know this already. The Red Hero, sadly, well, this is his last real adventure. Seal stares up into the night sky, confident that he made it, Ragnarok blew up, the Earth is safe, humans and Reploids are finally united because of his sacrifice, but Zero, well, he did not make it in the end.
Oh no, he's a hero in our hearts.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, what a champion! And TimeLink, what a champion! Thank you so much. That was a good run.
Thank you.
Is there anywhere that people could find you on Twitch or Twitter?
Yeah, my Twitch, well, name is the same as you would expect, TimeLink. Nothing, no numbers, no underscore, nothing special. I stream there sometimes, when I'm not busy with university and other stuff. I've actually kind of moved on from, like, the first, like, the platformer Mega Man games. I've spent a lot of time on them, but I'm willing, I'm wanting to try out a lot of other Mega Man series now. I'm starting to get into Battle Network and Star Force. So you can expect some of that soon. And, yeah.
Nice.
From there, I want to try out a lot of other stuff as well. We'll see.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for showing this off. This again, with all of the runs that we've had tonight, it seems like this is a game that's very close to you. This is a game that you enjoy quite a bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The series is wonderful, and I definitely think more people should play it, especially now with how accessible it is because of the collections. This entire series is like, a lot of people probably started off on it on a sour note because Zero One does not mess around. You get a huge difficulty spike within the first couple of missions. You have to grind to level up your weapons and such, and it's really difficult. It's a bad entry point, I would say. But if you pick up the Zero and ZX Legacy Collection, there are like easy mode. There are lots of assistance tools. There are like, you can toggle them off and on at will. If you just want like extra checkpoints, you can do that. If you want to take like half damage, you can do that, and you can experience the games on your own. In this collection, you get a whole 6 games. You get the entire Zero series, which spans these 4 games, and you get ZX and its sequel ZX Advent as well. So definitely do consider checking that out. I think it's super worthwhile as a collection. It's especially well suited for speedrunning because it just removes all lag and loading times. It's just super good. There's like no input lag, no really recorded issues that anyone's brought up.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. And everybody, this is by no means the end of the hotfix action tonight. This has been going places, but coming up after this at 4 p.m. ET, we have got How to Train Your Speedrunner, another show that's debuting today, and we've got another show debuting tomorrow. So a whole load of new action, new hosts, new showrunners. We have got It's Dangerous to Go Alone happening at the same time that How to Train Your Speedrunner is happening tonight. And that's going to be looking at co-op speedruns. So I feel like the How to Train Your Speedrunner sort of explains itself, but stick around because we have got some more hotfix action. But this has been Going Places, Mega Man special. Thank you so much once again, TimeLink. I feel like I'm saying thank you all the time, but that was a really, really good run, and it looks like we're getting a little bit of the ending here that you were mentioning.
Yep, it looks like we're getting to see just enough of it. All right, that's the definitive ending to the Mega Man Zero series.
Gone too soon. Everybody, thank you so much. Please do stick around, enjoy the music. If you want an uninterrupted music experience whilst we're waiting for the next hotfix, then do consider subscribing. It helps out these hotfixes and makes sure that we can run smoothly. And yeah, do stick around. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you for having me. It's been great.